excited. It's another day. It's another week, another live stream. Welcome to the live stream. Hello, Jack. Let me get my social thingy up here so I can put your comments on the screen. Retrieving. Let's go. Okay, view. There we are. Let's see if that works. Hey, Jack Ripper. Hey, Veggie 2009. See if that pulls up there. Boom. Should work there. Cool. So how's everyone doing? So this week I had to do an impromptu, well, not impromptu, but I rather a lecture this week because I ran out of subjects for this week for my film class. We dealt all into story. So I dealt into the concepts of like 3-act structure. We talked about hero's journey. We talked about Dan Harmon's story circle. And I kind of revisiting hero's journey, and I really appreciated thinking about hero's journey. So I thought maybe it'd be fun today to go through the Super Mario Brothers movie as far as how it relates to hero's journey. I don't know if you guys have all seen it online. I don't think it's much of a spoiler to tell you that it is a hero's journey story. I mean, it's pretty obvious that it would be, but I think it'd be kind of fun. Hopefully we don't have any objections. We just dive right in because the people that are probably be clicking on this thing, but it doesn't look like I forget what I'm saying. I was about to go watch Mario today, but I'd rather just look at nature. Well, there you go. Just go do that. So, well, it's not really spoiler. Well, it is spoilers. I'm sorry. If you haven't seen Mario, there's nothing to spoil. It's just a movie. Stop thinking you need to be a virgin for everything you watch. All right, let's do it. If you haven't seen it, go and you're like, I can't take spoilers. Then go watch something else today. Don't do something, I think it'd be fun. I think it's more fun to do the hero's journey. Hey, Rick, you finally got the notification. All right, they haven't come in lately. Yeah, I noticed that. They come off and on. It's bizarre. It's not actually bizarre. It's YouTube. It's YouTube because, subscribing to somebody on YouTube doesn't mean you actually see their content. Ringing their bell doesn't really mean do much of it at all. In fact, I have no idea what works on YouTube. I don't think there's a single thing that works on YouTube. Yeah, most of Hollywood movies today, I don't feel like spoiling ruins anything. Pretty much. All right, let's go through Super Mario Brothers. And so I've got to make it easy on me, I've got Joseph Campbell's 17 steps of the hero's journey. I want to go through the original 1949 version versus the 2007 Chris Vogler version. The Vogler version is probably a more modern version, but the Campbell version I think is more interesting. It's got a lot more. Man, my neighbor's just firing the engine. It's got a lot more allegorical stuff to it. All right, so let's get going here. Okay, so I'm sorry. Never mind. I'm pausing here. So I've got the plot from Wikipedia. I'll put it on one side of my screen. All right, and I'll put the hero's journey on the other side of the screen. This will be kind of fun. All right, here we go. Let me get the hero's journey. There we are. All right, here we are. So the plot is, where's the plot? Okay, Italian-American brothers Mario and Luigi have recently started a plumbing business in Brooklyn. Their father disapproves of Mario's decision to leave their steady job under the antagonistic ex-employer Spike, and he believes he's dragging Luigi down with him. After seeing a significant manhole leak on the news, Mario and Luigi go underground to fix it, but are sucked in the time warp pipe and separated. Okay, so this section here would be essentially the ordinary world. So Mario and Luigi exist in an ordinary world of Brooklyn, New York, right? And the call to adventure is sort of not that present in this movie. They kind of skip the call to adventure section because they're not really called to, other than basically Mario's desire to want to please his father. So there is that father relationship that Mario seeks for approval. And, he's also being berated for the fact that he is ruining his brother's life because his brother is not, he's a bad influence on his brother. So there isn't really so much the call to adventure. And there really is, so if there isn't much of a call to adventure, there isn't really much of a refusal of the call. Okay. Let's make sure you guys are not yelling at me. All right. There you go. All right. So there's not much of a refusal to call. So going back to the plot, Mario lands in the Mushroom Kingdom, ruled by Princess Peach, while Luigi lands in the Dark Lands, ruled by the evil Koopa King Bowser. Bowser seeks to marry Peach and will destroy the Mushroom Kingdom using his superstar if she refuses. He imprisons Luigi to blackmail Mario, who he sees as competition for Peach's love. So basically, and here's the thing. I think this is the kind of the part that I really wanted to focus on. There's a lot of talk on certain circles that Princess Peach is sort of overpowered and she's girl boss action, and people might be claiming so you're making the whole thing woke. I'm going to pull that back because I don't think that's the case. In fact, the section here where Luigi gets separated from Mario is essentially crossing the first threshold. This is number 4. If you're following along on Joseph Campbell, I'm on Wikipedia Hero's Journey if you just want to follow along. Number 4 is crossing the first threshold. So yes, they go into the warp machine, the warp pipe, and they get into this world, but they have to go on this journey now. They have to go because Luigi's in trouble. That they have to have that crossing that first threshold. I think I was going back yesterday or last week when I was talking about how it wouldn't make sense for Mario and Luigi to both be together in the movie. They had to separate them because you need someone to rescue. And coming to this world, this Mushroom Kingdom that neither the Super Mario Brothers are familiar with, and trying to rescue Princess Peach, which neither of them know who that would be, would not fit into this hero's journey. It would not give any purpose for Mario to go through the quest adventure. Saving his brother, however, is a natural choice. So I think that's the crossing the threshold situation. And then so continuing on, Mario meets Toad, who takes him to Peach. Peach plans to ally with the primate Kongs to help repel Bowser and agree to take Mario and Toad along. Okay, so Mario's into this world. He's got this kind of guide in Toad that helps him guide through the Mushroom Kingdom. They go to the powerful Princess Peach, right? So she is the essentially now number 5 on Campbell's story is the belly of the whale. I'm not going to quite go the belly of the whale here. We could jump ahead to the 7, which is a meeting with the goddess, because maybe Princess Peach is sort of the goddess figure in the situation here. But if we were to jump over to the Chris Vogler version, there is a meeting with the mentor. So my approach to the Mario movie is that Princess Peach, again, talking about how she's overpowered, she's girl boss. No, she is the mentor. She is the Gandalf. She is the Obi-Wan Kenobi of the story. Like, she has the power. She has the plans. She has she's familiar with the universe. She's expert in the universe, just like Gandalf, just like Obi-Wan Kenobi with the power of the Force. She controls it. However, and she has a plan. And she has a plan to defeat Koopa by joining powers with the ape like Donkey Kong clan or whatever, right? So that's what she is. And I don't think you could make a claim that Obi-Wan Kenobi is overpowered or that Gandalf is overpowered. They are significantly overpowered, but they can't do the quest by themselves. They need them. They need Mario to essentially bring them along. So I think that's how I would approach it. So Jack Ripper says, I've heard it being too woke and not woke enough. See, that's the thing. I think if you read it as if Princess Peach is such a girl boss that she's undefeatable, indestructible kind of thing, then she can't really be. It's not really a matter of. The reason why people think it's woke is because they're reading as that character, but she's not the character. Her function in the story is to be the mentor character for Mario. I think if you read it that way, it doesn't. It alleviates that kind of, this is so woke, right? Because again, Gandalf is super powerful. Or Gandalf the Grey. I mean, he's not the highest level, right? But he's pretty darn powerful. But, we don't think of him as the main character, right? It's Frodo. It's the other characters that go along with the journey. So that's kind of the main direction I wanted to go with on that. Let's go back to my script here, my so-called script. All right. So now they have to go into. So now Mario joins Princess Peach on this journey. Okay, so the journey has begun, right? And they need to go through the trials. So number 6 on Campbell's is the Road of Trials. So there are a series of tests that Mario has to go through. Again, even that training montage is part of the Road of Trials, as Mario is in learning his way into this universe and challenging himself and being challenged. Right. So the Road of Trials is there, and also the battle with the Donkey Kong is essentially another Road of Trial again. So they go to the Donkey Kong Kingdom, but in Jungle Kingdom, the Cranky Kong agrees to help on the condition that Mario defeats his son Donkey Kong in a fight. And despite Donkey Kong's strength, Mario defeats him using the cat suit. So he's gone through the process, right? He's learning himself into the world here. So Mario, Peach, Toad, and the Kongs use carts to drive back to the Mushroom Kingdom, but Bowser's army ambushes them on the Rainbow Road. When the Koopa General destroys part of the road, Mario and Donkey Kong plummet to the ocean and are eaten alive by an eel-like Mal Ray, while the other Kongs are captured. Belly of the Whale, right? I think this is literally Belly of the Whale time, because I think I'm drawing that comparison. If you're talking about the Vogler treatment of the hero's journey, it's the approach to the innermost cave. So they're going right to the cave here at this point. All right. So from there on, Bowser. Okay, so the rest of the story here. Peach and Toad return to the Mushroom Kingdom to urge the citizens to evacuate. Bowser arrives aboard his flying castle and proposes to Peach, who reluctantly accepts Bowser's advisor. Kamek tortures Toad, Mario, and Donkey Kong after bonding over how their respective dads never take decisions seriously. Again, developing allies and new allies in the test, right? Escape the malware by riding the rocket from Donkey Kong's cart to hurry into Bowser's Peach's wedding. All right. At the wedding reception, Bowser intends to execute all the prisoners in Peach's honor. Toad smuggles an ice flower to Peach's bouquet, which Peach uses to freeze Bowser. Mario and Donkey Kong arrive to free the prisoners. Mario uses a Tanuki suit to save Luigi. In a race, Bowser frees himself and summons the Banzai Bill to destroy the Mushroom Kingdom, but Mario knocks it off course and directs it into the warp time pipe, where it detonates, creating a vacuum that causes Bowser's castle to be transported to Brooklyn. As they fight, Bowser and Mario and Luigi grab the Superstar, become invincible, and defeat the Koopas. Bowser is struck into a mini mushroom and is imprisoned, and Mario and Luigi are hailed as heroes celebrating the Brooklyn's populace, including their parents and Spike. In aftermath of the battle, Mario and Luigi move into the new house together in the Mushroom Kingdom. Okay, so that's the rest of the story, real quick here. So, yeah, the Road of Trials. The meeting with the goddess and the woman as the temptress, and atonement with the father, and I can never pronounce this, apotheosis, the glorification, the divine level, commonly treatment as a human being. Okay, I'm not even sure exactly what that is. So I probably should have taken the Campbell's road. I should have taken the Vogler road, but we're going to try this anyways. Road of Trials, meeting with the goddess. I honestly, I'm not deep enough into that to understand that. So I'll let the Count for Comment, who's probably read the book, to describe that in the chat. Let's jump over to perhaps the Vogler version. That was a failure, right? So test allies and enemies in the Vogler is Act 2. That's the bringing on Donkey Kong as an ally. Approach the innermost cave. Again, that's part of the when Bowser arrives and takes over. Is taking over the wedding. He's got the he's about to kill everybody, and that's what we have, the ordeal. The ordeal, which is the battle between the Mario and the Bowser at the inside the Mushroom Kingdom, and the reward. I think if you wanted to read this as a reward, the reward is the Superstar. So the Superstar gets knocked loose from that ordeal. Everything gets sent over to the Brooklyn world, right? And so that's essentially the road back. The road back being there now. The Banzai Bill bullet thingy sent them all now to the real world. They're back to the real world, right? But now they have to have the resurrection. The resurrection is Mario grabbing the Superstar, becoming invincible, and taking care of business. Okay. And then everything's won. They return to norm. Everything's back to normal now, or semi-normal. The father now respects him. That's the elixir they come back to at the very end of the story. Okay, so I mean, look, this is completely off the top of my head, driving 5 minutes in here, trying to figure out how this all fits. I think it does. Again, the thing with Hero's Journey is something I will talk about. I mean, I talked about this in my class too. The thing with Hero's Journey is that it's not prescriptive, it's descriptive. And it means you don't need to necessarily follow every single beat exactly the way it is, but that the Hero's Journey describes the pattern of stories that happen. So I think that as a Mario, I mean, it would make total sense that Mario would follow a Hero's Journey type of script. And one of the students actually brought up a good point, and I agree with it too, is that not all stories are Hero's Journey stories. It's just hero stories are Hero's Journey stories. But like there's also rags to riches stories. There's, there's love stories, romance stories. There's, man versus nature kind of stories. Not everything is a Hero's Journey. Let's go about some of your chats here. As a Mario fan, I loved it. As a filmmaker, I thought it wasn't tired. It wasn't particularly inventive, but it was good. I think you're right. They think it's woke because they made Peach the advisor, not the primary damsel. I have a problem with that approach to it too, because from a story perspective, if you made her a damsel, why would Mario need to save her? He's just got into this world. Like, hey, thanks for coming to this world. We need you to rescue somebody that you do not know who it is, and you have no emotional connection to whatsoever. But you must go rescue her. And you're like, there's no reason to. So I think from a story perspective, it's way wiser to put Peach in the mentor state realm than it is to put her in the damsel realm. I think also thinking of her as a, I mean, I agree with them though that she is overpowered. I feel like they could have toned that back a little bit, but whatever. It's like one line in the movie, so what are you gonna do, kind of a thing. But yeah, I don't see that as I think honestly a lot of that is just driven by let's get clicks and let's get views, so they'll go with that angle, and sure it works that way. But I think if you step back and think of it from story wise, I don't think it makes sense for her to be anything but a mentor. And then the other point I was going to bring up was like, yeah, and she's been a playable character for so long that I don't see anything wrong with having her being a major character. So if Peach can be a mentor, that's already broke the paradigm. Can I spend some chat poking holes in Hero's Journey? I'm not too fond of Campbell's work. You can if you want, but I'm not particularly interested in doing that. Again, I don't feel that Campbell's necessarily is prescriptive rather than descriptive. I think it's interesting to look at these things as far as like, looking at general clouds, not clouds, but like tendencies of these stories. And it's not particularly anything that is out of the tendency. It's not like it's wrong. It doesn't prove anything is wrong. Yeah. One word, catabasis, the descent into the underworld, and learn something when come up. It's already covered belly of the beast, row of the trial, most of the tropes. Okay. Well, account you can continue on with that if you want. Like, here's the thing. Like, I won't spend the effort to argue against you because I don't feel the need to in this situation. I'm only interested in it as sort of seeing these kind of these common tropes. I think it's a fool's journey to think you're ever going to completely encompass all of everything into a single, like Hero's Journey puzzle piece. I mean, I was having trouble with Campbell's original approach to it, right? But I think it's interesting to see how there's a lot of the commonalities that you find throughout different medium, different stories, and I think that all still sort of fit, And when I don't particularly like writing heroes' journeys. I mean, I don't have a desire to make a hero's journey story, honestly. The stories that I want to make are not necessarily hero's journey. But, if I was tasked to write one, I'd have to consider a lot of those major features. Like I would consider, obviously the refusal to call is something that like you see it everywhere. The character, the hero has to be resilient to actually going on the adventure, right? So let's see, where are we at here? We've got 22 confirmed viewers. So, yeah. So I'm not necessarily like I don't think I don't think the hero's journey would be the end all be all, but I think there's certain things that are the elements and tropes and particular kind of archetypes that are present, and it's always fun, interesting to look at them. And it's always, I think it was kind of fun more to take a little more serious approach to Mario Brothers than it probably deserves. But so that's what I wanted to say about Mario Brothers. Not particularly deep or insightful. I just wanted to definitely point out that there are things like, I think the belly of the beast sort of imagery. I mean, to me, I make that connection there as far as like being eaten by the whale thingy. Like why would they do that unless there's some sort of there's some sort of allegory that they're maybe not even consciously, maybe unconsciously trying to insert into the movie. But anyhow, Jack says, I like the Dan Harmon structure. Yeah, so the other thing I talked about in the class was Dan Harmon's story structure, which again, very similar to Hero's Journey. If you don't know what it is, we can go over it real quick. This is a way to kind of fill some more time to get more questions going. If you guys want to have any questions, you want to ask me anything. But Dan Harmon's is called a story circle. And essentially, it's a 6-part story circle. Dan Harmon story circle. If you don't know what that is, it's worth looking up. I'll pull it up for you, read it to you. So Dan Harmon's story circle also works, I think, better for episodic television, where you have a little bit of character growth per story. And he breaks it down to something called you need go, search, find, take, return, change. So you start off in the beginning, it's the ordinary world, but you need something. So that's your call to adventure. You need to get something, right? So you initiate some sort of quest or adventure. Then you go. So you go into unfamiliar territory. You go and you search. You search for that thing that you're trying to find. And then you find it. But the thing is, when you find out, once you find it and you take it, you find out that the cost of taking it is going to be more than what you thought you would spend. It costs more than what you think it costs. So there's a surprising, you get what you want, but it's like, did I really want this? Did I pay too much for it? And then you return. You return back to the ordinary world, but you kind of analyze what it is that you got out of your search. You're kind of evaluating it. And then you change. The last point is you change. You're back in the ordinary world, but you're slightly changed. That's kind of a real quick breakdown of how that story cycle works. Some way, it covers some of the hero's journey style approach. Like there is still a little bit of that hero's journey. There's not so much. I mean, I think hero's journey goes a little bit more deep into like different kind of mythical archetypes that are out there. But generally speaking, it's like the thing about all these stories is they're all very much a circle, right? You start off where you are, you go through the adventure, it changes you somehow, and a lot of times the journeys are oftentimes tests to learn new things. And you have a plan, but the plan almost always fails, so you have to come up with another plan, and then you get that thing that you need to save it, and then you're saved at the very last moment. You're resurrected. Essentially, you come back from you snatch victory at the jaws of defeat, and you come back to the ordinary world, but slightly different. It's always the thing that's always throughout. Yeah. That's a good point there. The Count for Comment says, I learned a lot from it. It can be interesting, but I found it confusing that people saying that all story are figured out by Campbell. No, I agree with you. It's not all story. It's almost like straight not to be original. It's not. That's the problem with, I think, with being applied to Campbell is all. I think it's all. You would want to limit to all hero stories, and again, it's descriptive, not prescriptive. It is describing how these stories work, but not necessarily telling you how to make a story work. You know, and I think the same thing happens with something like Blake Snyder's beat sheets and stuff like that, where he would lay out like, all right, the first 10 pages is this, then the next 30 pages is this, and this, and this, and this. You know, like, you can approach that as like, oh, I have to do it this way. I have to, or you approach it, well, that's kind of a cool way of doing it. Maybe it gets me thinking about how I would approach my story. But, you know, it is a story. It is ultimately my work as an artist is to create something that appeals to me. I feel like most artists, if you are an artist and you can't make stuff that appeals to you, you're gonna be very, very unhappy. You're very unsatisfied. So like I'm lucky, maybe because I'm having such a low standards or something. But when I work for clients, I try to make stuff that I would appreciate. I like, you know, or I would at least see the value in it. And I'm usually pretty satisfied by that. But anyway, I forget what my point was. Other than yeah, as an artist, you are trying to create a story that speaks to you. So you don't necessarily need to say, I'm going to stick inside the Joseph Campbell's exact dimensions. But yeah, I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. Howdy from San Antonio. Welcome. I might have missed it, but I just joined. But what is the conclusion? What structure did the writer Mario say they used? It would have been a version of a hero's journey. Yeah. Mario's story is hero's journey. I mean, like, as I was telling the class, like every Marvel movie is some form of hero's journey, essentially. Well, you know, to an extent. And I have not seen like the Ant-Man movie, so I don't know if that's a hero's journey necessarily. But it always is called adventure, refuse to call, right? Like Lego movie, all those movies, you know, any movie where you have a hero, a protagonist going on some sort of adventure is going to be a hero's journey. Yeah, most video game stories are hero's journey. Well, I don't know. I couldn't tell you if all video games are hero's journey stories. But essentially, like those kind of hero myths are that pattern. That's all. See any good movies lately? I wanted to go see Air, but I never got a chance to see it. And this week has been relatively busy for me, so I haven't even watched anything at home. I'm trying to think if I watched anything at all this week. I've just been kind of super busy. I had to do I had 2 Student of the Month programs that I recorded. And then one of the Student of the Month programs we had to turn around and after that go to this, the hills near where I live have a bunch of poppies, California poppies growing on them. And so the city wanted me to shoot some footage. They actually closed down this part of the city. There's like a natural hiking trail. And the city closed it down because they were afraid that back in 2019 they had a super poppy bloom. And the place was just inundated with cars that wasn't designed for that many people parking. And on top of that, people were parking on the freeway, which led to somebody getting killed. I mean, it was just stupid. Like stupid. So this year they said, poppies are blooming, but no one's allowed at all to park along these trails. But they still wanted footage of the poppies. And by the time I got it, they're kind of like mostly gone. But so they had me fly some drone work around it. But the thing is, I was supposed to do it last week. And I was supposed to do it last week, and then they called me and said, hey, we can't do it this week because we had an incident at the... so what's the incident? Oh, some people were found flying drones on the trail, and they shouldn't have been. Like, okay. So we'll have to wait a week before you can fly a drone there. But I'm officially flying it. I've also have my insurance with the city, so if I burn the place down, they know who did it, and they can bill me. So I guess, that's the difference, but yeah, that's what's going on there. All right. So, you guys are kind of quiet. There's 20 viewers and it's kind of quiet today. Throw me some questions. I'll tell you more about, I spent a lot of time this week. Maybe I should put this if this is more exciting to talk about. I spent a lot of time this week answering some questions about frame rate of the human eye. So there's this one blog called Digital Camera World, I think Digital Camera World or something like that. So F-Stoppers picked up my video and it generated a lot of views from F-Stoppers. And then Digital Camera World picked up my video, but they made an article that, oh my god, the the clickbait headline was, your eye only sees 10 frames per second. Therefore, we can throw away all your high-tech monitors and cameras and all that crap. So, yeah, that did not help me at all. So honestly, never thought considered Mario Hero's Journey kind of character more of a Popeye character. Although personally, I thought the movie didn't do him justice by trying to fit into that role. Yeah, I definitely think Mario's a hero's journey on that, and the movie version, not the games. The games, he's just what it is. So I got the digital camera article. Essentially, they took my video and just rewrote it as an article, but they put the video up there, so that's fair. But that clickbait headline that told everybody oh, you can throw away all your monitors, so we only see 10 frames a second. That generated so much hate for me on my video, because I got a bunch of people that just came on and just started shitting on me like nonstop, and I'm like, did you watch any of the video at all? No. So I got one person that I to be honest, here's the truth. I troll people that I know don't watch the video. I literally just troll people because there's you just come on my video and you leave a comment, you're gonna get blasted with both of them, both barrels. So this one guy's like, I stopped watching when you said 10 frames a second. I'm like, all right, cool. But basically went back and forth, and he was like, he started complaining about, and I just said, they always come down oh, you're being you're I can't believe this kind of rude response I'm getting from you. It's like, well, you're being a dick to me. You're saying things like, I came to the video and I stopped watching immediately. I'm like, well, that's your problem. So I literally drove this guy mad. It's like putting a match to a box of kindling, and just the whole thing just flamed out. And he went berserk. He said I was assaulting him through YouTube comments. I love it. And he deleted all his comments, and he posted a big old comment saying, because he deleted all his comments, and he came back and posted a big old comment saying I'm assaulting him and all that, and all right. Literally, this is a guy this is what happens to the internet, right? This person got so angry at me for saying the human eye sees 10 frames a second, despite the fact that at least 7 or 8 times in the video I said the human eye doesn't have to see a frame rate. But that got so angry, and my own internal personal, I guess the old term for it was LUTZ, LULZ. Like the joy in seeing someone just self flame themselves to death, basically for just saying something stupid as 10 frames a second. So it didn't bother me. Honestly, it was more entertained by it than anything. Totally entertained. Haters gonna hate. Absolutely. Well, haters gonna hate their own straw men of kids always say things about oh, it's such a straw man argument. It's such a straw man argument. They don't really understand what straw man is. A straw man is something that you create. It's a phony version of the argument you create and to attack, right? And it's something that's easily destroyable. But every time somebody say it's straw man argument, oftentimes they're creating a straw man of me. Yeah, I don't know. The thing that I find most challenging about the internet is that so much of what we debate and what we talk about online is really a conversation we have with ourselves. We're not even debating the person. We're not interested in the person's arguments. We're debating our own minds, or the own voice in our head, right? That's what it's just, and it's what's so frustrating. So, I think I play the hardest, for me, whenever I decide to talk about anything or explore anything, I'm super hard on myself in that I do try to always see the other side as much as possible, or see the other argument as much as possible. And believe me, it's when I do that constantly, and then I see the comments that I get, it's like, I don't see, you guys are not seeing the other side. You guys are only seeing your side. That's a really good point. Thanks. I knew you'd say that. So one of the things I've been constantly pushing, and I think I'm going to do a follow-up video to that, but I'm going to take it. I got a lot of this question. I got a lot of this comment, and it is, when people say what the frame of the human eye is, they're not really talking about the frame of the human eye, which is like, well, you could have fooled me. I mean, use the proper language, right? That's you said, what's the frame of the eye? I'm answering that question. They're always saying, what they really mean though is, what's the highest frame rate you can see on a monitor, right? That's the real question to people. Like, well, it's not really the real question, because you need to phrase it properly, right? So you need it in order to understand what's the highest frame rate you can see in a monitor, you need to understand the biology of the eye. So you need to understand what's going on over here before you can really understand what's going on over here. So I think the next video might be that approach. It's like, okay, well, a lot of people had that question. What's the highest frame rate you can see? Let's ask that question. Let's see if we can answer that question. And ironically, the answer to that question is actually the same whether you see 30 frames a second or 10 frames a second or a million frames a second. It's the same answer. Well, maybe not a million frames a second, but it's the same answer as a camera that shoots 10 frames a second. I think it's an interesting answer. And I did have a chance to talk to the guy that runs Blurbusters through Twitter. So, I mean, he didn't say anything negative about my video at all. So, I think I will probably cover the screen side, and a lot of that stuff comes from the Blurbusters website, which is completely accurate. I'm not dispelling anything that's being said there, but that's what I hate most about this. I prefer to talk with humans, but humans always watch their mouths or suffer consequences. Online has no filter and become the only avenue for discourse. Well, yeah. I mean, if you even have someone that talks to humans, the online is just, it's just people in their own mind bubbles. I mean, I looked at like not Twitter, but Reddit, because a couple Reddit things picked up my video, and they're all that Digital Camera World article with their clickbait title saying throw away all your technology because your eye only sees 10 frames a second. That's, everyone was responding to that headline. They didn't read any of the article. Well, the Reddit forum was saved you a click, and it said, the question is, do you need to throw out all your equipment because your eye sees 10 frames a second? And it said, no, the eye doesn't have a frame rate. But Reddit's just like full of just rage. One guy in the bottom says, "Oh yeah, I edit movies for a living, and I've noticed you need 3 frames in order to So a couple people know, but most of the people it's just complete off on their own thing." Do you think that YouTube channel videos have a structure? First part is a hook, then introduction videos such as what's in my backpack or how I get ready for prom? Sure. Yeah, I mean, YouTube videos essentially have the same. I mean, you can kind of even judge your structure. YouTube provides the tools to look at like where the most people come in or people leave, how many percentage of the audience still remaining. So you can judge whether your hook is strong. Every creator that essentially does a show, develops their own structure for the show. But yeah, people that work for Disney can't object to woke because they have to work together. Then they may complain anonymously on the web. Yeah, I'm wondering if. Okay, so I'll share this with you guys. I don't think anybody's watching from my. So I do these Student of the Month programs, and I've now done at least over 100. I think I've sat through 100 of them. So I kind of have an idea how they should be run, and I don't know if I dare tell the founder what I think should be how they should be run, because I've seen them run in 4 different ways. And part of my approach, so again, I'm approaching this from a producer standpoint. I'm asking, what's the most important thing in this event? What is the most important thing about the Student of the Month program event? And the answer to that is the students. So the students are absolutely number one priority. We must honor students. That is the important thing. Everything else is less important than the students. All right. Who else? What's the second most important? Well, so what they do is they'll come together. They'll introduce everybody. They'll go through a long spiel. They'll talk. They'll say invite the dignitaries up to on the. I hate the word dignitary, but if you're working in city events and it just bugs me. Oh, you're a dignitary. Like, I represent so and so's office. I just hate I'm too American. I want to, we're all equals. No one's a dignitary. I'm a dignitary. I'm freaking John Hesser filmmaker IQ, and I'm videotaping. I should be a dignitary. No, I just don't like the whole idea of dignitaries. But anyhow, they have their little intro. They have the dignitaries come up and say hi. They have the sponsors say hi. But that whole thing expands, and it's gotten to the point where it's like 45 minutes of this event is dedicated to all this bullshit, which is dignitaries and sponsors and stuff like that. And then we finally get to the students that we're honoring in this thing. There's usually 7 or 8 students that are being honored. And so the principal will come up and they'll give a little spiel, and then the student will come up and give their spiel, and the teacher will talk about how great they are, and the parent will talk about how great they are, and then repeat, right? So to me, students are the most important thing. Give them the balance of the time. Then parents and teachers are the second most important thing. Then the principals. Okay, those are the most important things of the event. Those are the only part of the video that I save when I edit them and put them on broadcast. Like, that's what matters. All this sponsor stuff, all this dignitary stuff, shorten that, or at least maybe even move that to the end, because that doesn't matter. Like, let's just get to the story. Let's get to the celebrating the students. That's what matters. If I were to couch it that, and if I were to send out a memo, the way a studio head with a memo to the people producing this program, get rid of everything but the students and the teachers and the parents. Everything else doesn't matter. I don't know. That's just me ranting. Sorry, guys. Just had to do it. I don't like how the new president of Warner Brothers is putting an almost complete focus on establishing big ITs. Warner Brothers may soon suffer all the same problems as this. Yeah, look at Disney, dude. Disney has all these big IPs, and what's happening to that? I think the other problem with that is sometimes you can't even. I guess the problem with that is you can't advertise. You can't advertise something that isn't already an IP, right? Like. You can't preview on something that isn't a big IP because no one would be interested in it. And what I mean by that is, I can tell you, hey, we're working on a new Batman movie. And you're like, oh, wow, really cool. Versus, hey, we're working on a new romantic comedy starring somebody you never heard of, and it's about a thing. And you're like, I don't care. You can't really generate buzz without IP. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of like Everything Everywhere All at Once came out with no hint at, I didn't see a lot of pre-buzz for it. Maybe I didn't have my ear to the ground, right? But it's not something you can put in the rumor mill. It's not something the press is going to talk about or if you did that, you might want to save it to the actual release of the movie, because then you want the most amount of attention on it when it's released. So if you had an original property, you may not want to tell everybody about it until it comes out, kind of a thing. So that's what I'm thinking. Like, the movies that are going to surprise you are the ones that you didn't even know were coming. So, all right. I'm pretty sure there's a flickering strobe light test that shows we can really see really high frames per second. It changes depending on context and playing versus just watching. There isn't. Well, what you might be talking about is flicker fusion, right? So flicker fusion is dependent on a lot of different variables. Flicker fusion has to do with, sensitivity or the brightness of the light, where it's located, age, tiredness, and all that stuff. In fact, I think so Matthias and I have been talking a lot about the subject a lot through chats and comments. I was on the board of black frame insertion being the secret to fixing issues with 24 frames a second that's happening on these newer monitors. And I unfortunately have to back way off of that because it's just not true, unfortunately. And and Matthias, I was talking to Mark from Blurbusters, so I have been in communication with him. Although Mark does send a lot of links to stuff I've ever read, so he's always telling me, read this. I'm like, I've read it all, Mark. But basically, black frame insertion is not the solution. It's gonna be. So now I think maybe this might be like 2 videos out. But it would be like the solution to making 24 FPS look really good on your monitor is going to be watch it in dimmer lighting, because flicker and flicker fusion and stutter are kind of relative, like they're like cousins. So if you watch in lower lighting, and then you need actually a longer gray to gray, which a longer time between the frames to morph. I don't know. I'm going. I feel like today I'm just not. I'm not putting out the exact what I'm thinking. My brain is sort of kind of like jumping around quite a bit, and I'm not laying out the full story. So if you guys have questions about anything I'm saying, feel free to ask, because I don't think I'm giving you anything of a cohesive answer to anything I'm saying. So. Rigel is here, and I shall entertain you. I will entertain you with my horrible stuttering, I guess. I stutter worse than 24 frames a second. So the other problem I've been having is I think I pulled my shoulder. It has to be my shoulder. I remember talking about this last week, how my neck was bothering me. It's not my neck. It's my shoulder where it connects to my neck. And that's really so I've been dealing with that all week, and I think that's probably why my brain is not entirely functional. That's why I'm leaning to one side. Do I have any preference regarding HDR, HDR10, 10 plus Dolby Vision? No, I don't. And I really do need to look into that more. From the filmmaker's perspective, it's going to be more Rec 2020. That's what I've got to kind of look into in the PDQ versus the other thing. And it honestly, it's one of those things where it's like, it's just not in my wheelhouse of work that I produce, that there's nothing that I have no experience with it. I have a TV that's capable of HDR, but I've never tried to produce anything for it in a way, that's meaningful. And to be brutally honest, I don't think anybody, I can make something for YouTube that's but it wouldn't be seen, honestly. So, Jason, welcome to the stream. Well, good to catch you here. Let's see here. Yeah, let's go back. Puss in Boots. I need to see. I need to see that movie. I'll have to watch it. I think HBO Max owns. Is it under HBO Max's or Max? I think they call it now. Hopefully, Puss in Boots will come to HBO Max or something. I can watch it. But there's very little hype for it before release. Yeah, good word of mouth and internet discussion. What made the film a success? I want to see. I just saw that trailer for Charlie Day's new movie, and it's got a little bit of not Bulworth. What's that movie with Eddie Murphy and Steve Martin? Was it Bulworth? No, Bulworth is the one that. Bulworth was the one that had what's his face? The guy that played Dick Tracy. Eddie Murphy movie. I'm sure chat will find it before I even find it on my here. No, it's not. Let's see. 40. Where are you? Eddie Murphy. Come on. Okay, chat will tell me before this thing. Bowfinger. Thank you. Yeah. So Charlie Day's new movie has a little bit of a Bowfinger angle to it. Basically, it's like, I think what happens is Charlie Day, like this. He's walking down the street, and then some movie producer says, "Hey, you come over here. It's like you look just like this famous actor." So they basically use him as a stunt double, and then it goes too far, kind of a thing. So it looks like a funny movie, and I've always dug Charlie Day, so I had no idea that was coming. I heard he had to do a lot of rewrites, a lot of reshoots, because he was. I think it was. I forget who it was that said got like got like I want to say notes from Scorsese or somebody famous like that. Yeah, I've been watching your old videos. One about directing. You're right that to know how to make film, need to make film, not just watching it, but how to make it if I'm alone. Don't be alone. Try to find some people to make your films with. I know it's like I'm not Mr. Popular over here either. But you got to bite the bullet and just do it. And part of filmmaking for me is also trying to get out of the shell, right? Get out of your own personal, like, I'm by myself shell. And you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised if you just write a script and if you just write a script and you come up with an idea and you start approaching people to try to make it. You'd be surprised how many people would want to be involved and even want to be involved do it for free, or do it for the experience, right? I hate saying do it for free because it's like they're not doing it for free necessarily. They're giving them an experience, giving them something to do, something to feel. Yeah. Anyhow, God, my neck. Every time I sit in a chair, my shoulder starts like acting up. It's really, really rough. So, anyhow, let's get some more of your comments here. Let's see. Breath of Fresh Air, especially comparison to Disney's new animated films and live action remakes, a good example of a movie thriving on its own, even if you're talking about Puss in Boots. I gotta see that movie. Dang it, I gotta see that movie. Gotta watch Puss in Boots. Yeah, somebody was asking me what TV shows I was watching. I haven't watched any TV shows in a long time. But I gotta check out, once in a while I gotta check out Apple Plus is one of those streaming services that I'm not a big fan of Apple Plus, but occasionally there are some series on there that are marginally better than average. They're pretty decent. It's funny because I think Netflix is going to be. If I had to chop something down, it'd be Netflix. I think I would cut Netflix because I don't think Netflix has put out a lot of good stuff lately. They've been kind of in the dregs there. You seen John Wick? No, I haven't seen 4. I don't remember seeing 3. If you guys seen 4, can I go watch John Wick 4 without having seen John Wick 3? I don't know. Yeah. I have the same problem with the shoulder when I sit because you overstretch your arm when using the mouse. Yeah. I think what happened was I think it's going to be either related to racquetball or some arms exercise I did where I just pulled it. It might be racquetball. Because, when you hit racquetball, you're just doing this the whole time, right? So it might be racquetball. It might be some of the pec stretches or something I did, but I did something to it. I had to do something. It's an injury. It's not just like sitting and doing mouse work. Like I don't think that's just it. But yeah, it's been, oh man, it really hurts. So, when's the last most recent film you actually enjoyed? It was probably Mario Brothers. I think Mario Brothers is the last movie I watched. And that's been 2 weeks. So, I enjoyed it. It was fun. If you were to say, would I watch it again? I would, but I wouldn't necessarily pay to watch it again. I saw it once and it's good. I'm surprised that Lasso hooked me in. Ted Lasso. It felt that simply painfully average, but excellently acted and made with passion. Yeah, the thing for me with Ted Lasso is it rides a line. It rides a very, very fine line between being annoying and me liking it. I'm talking about from my personal opinion. It rides a fine line between me liking it and me hating the cringe aspects of it. The cringe aspects for it, like the second season for me was like when they were all singing that song "Never Gonna Give You Up" in the church, it started feeling a little too TV show cheesy. But again, like you're saying, it's very well acted, and there's a lot of heart to the show. A lot of heart. I really like the actor that plays the tough guy. I don't remember his name. It's been years since I've watched it. I don't like that Netflix canceled my $18.99. Yeah, Netflix is known for canceling shows halfway through. Imagine you had dubbed movies like we have in Germany. Would you want to relax and watch it in your language, or rather have the original language for authenticity? Good question. So here's my take on movies with subtitles. I know people are like, dude, like I know the proper cinephile approach is you want subtitles. That's the proper way, right? You want subtitles. Anything other than subtitles is, frankly, just not worth your time. I need to watch it in the original Telugu language. Serious. But my feeling is that I would actually rather have it dubbed. Oh my God. Get ready. Hide behind the keyboard. I would rather not read subtitles. Why? Because if I'm reading subtitles, I'm not looking at the screen. I'm not looking at the composition. Like I feel like when I watch a movie and it's all subtitles, I feel like I'm not engaging the visual aspect of the movie as much as I could be, because I'm spending all my time reading the subtitles. Like I'd rather be able to just see the movie and look at it visually, to be able to look at the whole visually thing rather than read. Right? I was paid to view, not to read. Right? So that's my thing with subtitles. Like I don't necessarily, obviously. Yeah, obviously having everything dubbed would be kind of silly, for to my experience. Like if I'm watching a movie and I'm hearing these phony voices over it, it's probably more distracting. It's probably more distracting than that, than maybe having to read subtitles. But when I watch a movie with subtitles, I don't feel like I can engage visually 100% with it. Jack Ripper says, "Yep, I get that 100%. That's why I love watching dubbed Italian movies." Well, those Italian movies, those were all just, they didn't even bother. They so didn't bother. Everything was just speak whatever language you want. Doesn't matter. That would have been crazy. Could you imagine that on set? I mean, I couldn't even imagine how that was. That's the other thing with foreign movies, right? Like, how do I know that person who gave that line didn't just give an absolutely horrendous line reading? I don't know. Like, have you noticed that? Like, if it's an English movie and I understand it in English, like I can tell the difference between someone that's a ham-fisted delivery versus like a natural delivery. But yet in foreign films, every foreign film I've seen always feels like it's a very naturalistic delivery. I have no way to judge. I just have no way to judge. So I'm always like, oh, this film's acted so well. I don't know if it's acted well. I don't speak the language. I don't understand all the details of it. So I don't know. I'm not knocking foreign films. I'm just saying, the same thing. I imagine, maybe that's why the Chinese people love watching American action films, even though the acting is horrible. It doesn't matter. They can't tell. It's English. They don't understand the English. It could be the absolute worst performance. Okay, I gotta read this comment because it might be helpful. If your shoulder does not have full range of motion once the pain goes away, I would recommend downloading a stretching regimen for a frozen. Oh, okay. For a frozen shoulder. P.S. Always consult a doctor. Blah blah blah. Yeah. The next step is going to be consulting a doctor at this point, because I haven't been to the doctor. But I'd be like, dude, doctor, you told me to lose weight. I went to the gym and then I freaking injured my shoulder. What are you doing to me, doc? No. I think I was at the point where I was losing weight, but I got stressed out, and then I'm back up a little bit. But I also feel like my muscles are way bigger, so because I've been doing some routines. I need to do some more regular routines, but I need to actually watch more, be more careful on what I eat. Now that I got my mom situated, things starting to calm down a little bit with my life. I can kind of be a little bit more sensible with my food, be a little less crazy. But yeah. What about live dubs though? One voice actor doing it all live with an audience. I've never seen that happen. Never seen it. That'd be interesting. Andre says that's a good point. Sometimes I think the dubbing is even better in movies. In movies, deck away. Well, that's the thing. Like the weirdest one is anime. Like there's some people that are like so purist with anime. They have to watch anime. They have to watch anime in the original language with subtitles. But I think anime is the worst because like I want to see the artwork. I don't want to be sitting there reading the titles. I want to experience the art. You know, and it's not like the dub is necessary. I mean, unless it's that there are bad dubs, right? There are dubs that are just so poorly acted that they detract, and I think that's the always the danger, you know. But like Cowboy Bebop is a good example. It's a good dub. It's a great dub. I don't think anything gained from watching the original Japanese version because you'll be forced to basically have to read. I'll spend all the time reading, and I'm not enjoying the visuals. So, anyway, out of curiosity, why are so many studios so gung-ho on going into streaming wars? I don't know. They're facing with Amazon, that doesn't care about profit, just growth, and too big. I think part of it is, it's one of those, sorry, my eyes going a little crazy. It's kind of like one of those FOMO issues, right? Fear of missing out. They don't want to be the one that doesn't have a streaming service. Because if you don't have the streaming service, then you're beholden to all the other streaming services. So they figured, well, we've got to have our own because we got to keep up. And it's like Dr. Strangelove, and we have a mineshaft gap. We can't have a mineshaft gap, people. We can't have a streaming gap. I think that might be part of it. It's always a thing. It's like, even though it may not be wise to have a streaming service, but you want to be able to have a place where you can. You're not beholden. That's not even a word, is it? You're not at the mercy of every other streaming services. Yeah, customers can't afford too many. I understood Disney owning childhood and families, but why make so many shows? I don't understand that. And like I don't understand the fact that Disney bought Fox to put in the Disney catalog streaming, but when I bought Disney Plus, I didn't have the Fox catalog in there. I mean, it had the Fox catalog in the European versions has a version of Fox, but all right, let's see. Yeah, we live in the land of milk and honey. Remember, the food will still be there. Oh, and I need to remind myself that. It's more about sometimes the stress is just like you need something to chill and relax. And I just need to find my balance. Subs are indispensable if you don't know the language, and dubs isn't near perfect. Nice to get the original actors' performances. I use subtitles even when they're the same language as the audio. Yeah, I know Americans, and they talk about Gen Zers, are very common to put the subtitles on while you're watching a show. Even that, like I've done that, and I even if it's in English and I put the subtitles on in English, I immediately get the sense that I'm not watching the movie as well as I would if I didn't have. So I'll turn off the subtitles even if like I'm on the border. Like I'll just turn them off just so I can visually see the movie better. Hey, how you doing, Meryl? Welcome to the stream. We have live dubs at the local children's film festival here in Kristiansand in Norway. Film dubbed in Norwegian over original audio, lowered to center channel with English subtitles. Cool. Yeah, only few film festivals. I think it was funny. I saw somebody saying that the Ant-Man movie now has the sign language guy that you can turn on, like a little sub language guy or sign language hand guy in the corner. And then somebody was like saying, well, why can't you just turn the subtitles on? And it's like, yeah, good point. You know, like, because I remember I did this back in COVID times. We did this graduation ceremony, right? Graduation ceremony in COVID because nobody could go to the actual graduation. So we put this on Facebook and YouTube and all that stuff, right? And part of the, when you work for a school district, part of the school district's, requirements are disability, like being able to accommodate disabilities like deafness and stuff like that. So the idea is if we were to put on the YouTube has this auto transcribe tool, and that creates generated captions for the hearing impaired, which is perfect. That solves that requirement. But immediately when I put it, we streamed it and it had the captions. The first comment we got, one of the first comments, not the first, was, "How come you don't have a sign language guy doing it?" Well, it's like, we don't have a sign language guy because that would require me having to hire a sign language guy and then shoot him listening to the whole thing and having it imposed with the image, which would then defeat the purpose, which could throw everything else off as far as the composition. It's like, no, we don't need a sign language. And then you have captions. That's what we have. You don't need all that stuff. So, but I'm sure it's one of those things where it wasn't a person that was hearing impaired. It was a person that was offended on the behalf of somebody that might be hearing impaired that they don't personally know. It's just being offended for somebody else. You gotta be offended for somebody else. It's not me that's offended. I'm offended for you. That's the thing. Yeah. Why bother putting Fox on Disney streaming when they could just keep them split and make twice as much? But there's no Fox streaming. Not that I know of, not here in the States. That was the whole reason why Disney bought Fox, was to get streaming rights, was to have their whole catalog. But I love Astro Boy, but the horrible dubbing and mini cuts and all the Astro Boy animes are a disgrace. You have to watch it with subtitles to make sure it's unedited. Yeah. That's what I mean. There's always a danger. There's always a danger of the bad dubs. Never understand why Americans can't read subtitles. It makes me understand the film better, especially long, not for often used words and accents. I think it's a mistake to think that Americans can't read subtitles, because a lot of Americans nowadays are turning on subtitles even for American shows. Like I said, the reason why I don't like subtitles, because I feel like it diverts my attention from the image. Have you seen Billy Friedkin's 1977 masterpiece Sorcerer? No, I have not. I mean, I'm curious if I can. I was thinking about seeing the movie Air. So I'm going to NAB tomorrow night. So my buddy Joe and I are going to get together, and we're going to go drive up to Vegas tomorrow night. And then we're going to be in Vegas for 3 days. So maybe I might do a stream there. Just talk about some stuff over there in the NAB. But until then, I've got to do a lot of. I want to get a couple. I have to design a logo for a State of the City. So I was going to work on that tonight or tomorrow. And then what else did I have to do? I was going to do some work on my comic book. So I'm 2/3 of the way done with the initial sketches, which is good. So I want to move ahead on that. But I was trying to think of a movie to watch tonight. So maybe Sorcerer would be good if I could find it. Or what's it called? Air. I do want to see Air. Sign language makes sense at a live music show because they're awesome. Yeah, I think so. That's fine. Although it's how many deaf people are going to music or live music shows? It feels like it's not that many. Now, people leaving live music shows might be deaf afterward. I'm sure it happens. All right, just kidding. I often need subtitles because I struggle to follow what the actors are saying, and that can ruin my experience far more than badly subtitles. I'm decent with written English, but not at listening. You know what's funny? Okay, so I don't speak Spanish. No diga español. Digo I think. No, hablo español. I'm not very good, but I do have a high school level. I took 3 years of high school Spanish, so I know a little bit. I know enough, but I can't understand someone's spoken Spanish. I can't turn on Spanish television and understand what the heck they're talking about. But if I were to read it, I can make it out. Because my high school Spanish was more of a written Spanish, so I can kind of look at the words and try to make sense of what the words mean, but I can't hear it. So when I do Student of the Month program, sometimes the parents that come up are like Spanish. They're Mexican, Mexican immigrants, and they won't feel comfortable speaking in English. They don't have the mastery of the language. So they encourage them like, hey, if you want to speak Spanish, speak Spanish. So they'll go up and they'll say, mi esposa y yo estamos muy orgulloso con nuevos hijos. Es un buen estudiante. Something like that. They'll say their speech in Spanish, right? So here's what's cool about technology. So I go in Adobe Premiere. I'm editing this thing, and my audience I know is mostly English speaking. So I take that clip in Adobe Premiere and I do transcribe. And lo and behold, man, it transcribes in Spanish what they say. So now I've got the written Spanish. I understand written Spanish better than I understand audio Spanish. So I've got the written Spanish part. I take that and I go into Google Translate and just have it translate for me. Now, Google Translate may be doing a very piss poor job, but since I am able to read Spanish a little bit better, and I can hear their inflection and all that, I basically reword Google Translate and I create the subtitles out of the Google Translate. And I'm like, before I would have to like bug someone because I don't know anybody personally that speaks Spanish, like personally, like on an everyday conversation. But I have to bug somebody, hey, can you just give me a transcription of what they're saying, and I have to render it out. Like, it's amazing how much you can do with technology nowadays. So, I know you're Brazilian, so Portuguese for you, right? I figure you're Brazilian, de Lima. I'll take subs over dubs usually, but I love bad dubbing in the old Italian giallos and westerns, the spaghetti western. I learned English because I was fed up with bad dubbing, changes the cultural references and subs. Interesting. Deaf people want to hang out with their friends at music shows. LOL. Yeah, there you go. I mean, I want to go. So I think my mom's caregivers, they're offering me tickets to a musical show concert. Like, hey, we got some tickets. You want them? Like, sure, why not? And it's tickets to Kenny G. And so you might want to be deaf if you go to a Kenny G concert. Oh, terrible joke. Sorry, Kenny G. Didn't mean to shit on you there. But no, I mean, I'll go see a Kenny G concert for free. Sure, why not? I'll go see Kenny G and his silky soprano saxophone. All right, I don't follow Disney news much, but if you're a CEO, how would you balance with trying to retain the family market in a polarized America, the progressive Gen Z female audience without pissing everybody look for an excuse to be angry these days in America? And Disney successful formula is to have as mundane lesson of morality as possible. They don't grow by rocking the boat, so to speak. Yeah. The honestly, like there is no. I think Disney. This is my impression of what's. I mean, I've talked about this a lot, and I've told you on stream before that Disney's in trouble right now. Disney's in big trouble. My impression is that there are a lot of people at Disney that are part of the best way to describe it is the theater kids crowd. There's a lot of theater kids that aren't necessarily artists, that aren't necessarily like going to push anything artistically forward, but they are kind of cliquey, kind of, to be honest, kind of gay, very, flighty kind of people. I think Disney's full of those people. I think the Disney, like working for Disney is like the dream of every theater kid. I mean, I'm obviously using a lot of stereotypes. I'm using a lot of, offensive stereotypes, even when you say it that way. But I think so internally, that's what's driving a lot of what's going on with Disney as far as like the way they're approaching things. If I were the CEO, I think you'd have to almost take sides a little bit. And you're going to have to piss off your internal folks. I just think that's the way it's got to happen. You got to say, you know what? We're going to focus on a particular kind of family entertainment. We obviously want to have We want to be inclusive. We want to let every child know that they're worth. Every child of any age, any any. We want all children, no matter how old you are on the outside, to feel like they have a place at home here. That kind of language, in a way, but in a way that that's a little bit more. I think strikes a little more home, a little more harder to kind of the wholesome family aspect of it. We want to be inclusive but wholesome, and that's a line. That's going to be a fine line. I think the ultimate thing is you got to stop worrying about pissing off people on Twitter, because people on Twitter are just going to be pissed off, and who cares what they say? It's like me with 24 frames a second. I don't care if gamers are going to be fuck 24 frames. I don't care. Cool. I mean, I might toy with you a little bit, but it doesn't bother me anymore. Used to bother me like, oh my God, I can't believe people are this shallow. Doesn't bother me. Jack River says, every gay theater kid I know loves Disney. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Seinfeld reference. I mean, I'm not, that's not, I don't think that's offensive. That's just true. The gay theater kids love Disney. It's, when I was a kid, and I can't believe I didn't turn out more gay, I guess, but like when I was a kid, I hung out with like at least, well, now we know, I hung out with at least 3 gay people. They ended up being gay later on. One of them ended up being gay. I was always questionable, like, I don't know if he's gay or not, but he really being gay. The other 2 guys, like, they were pretty much gay then. But we were like 10 years old, 12 years old. We weren't anything. We're like Ralph Wiggum says, I'm not anything yet. But we used to sit around and we would put on the Aladdin soundtrack, and we would sing the Aladdin soundtrack. I know every single word from that album. We would do that stuff. Like there's something joyously, I won't say it's not joyously gay, but it's just there's something joyous about Disney, that works for a lot of people, especially gay theater kids. But I think I just feel like, working for Disney is the dream for a lot of the gay theater kids. They end up working for Disney. The problem is now I think the management of Disney is afraid to step on anybody's toes. And especially, and again, one of those things where it's like, all it takes is one person to be offended. And then you got an HR problem. You could have one person who's offended, and like 99 people, the rest of the team is like, no, that's not the way it should be. But one person's offended, and then everyone is like, okay, well, yeah, we have to like bend to the will of that one person. And not that person doesn't have to be gay; they can be anything. It just takes one person really to get upset to cause a problem. Anyhow, is that going to get me canceled for saying that? I'm sure. I don't think it will, because there's no bit of nuance anymore. Anyhow. Disney has always been great at their side job of propaganda since they were asked to do war films 80 years ago. Yeah. Well, remember, everybody was asked to do war films 80 years ago. I talked about that in the class a couple weeks ago. We talked about propaganda. Talked about how Frank Capra was brought on to do propaganda and stuff like that. Not that propaganda is necessarily a bad thing, But externally, people expect Disney to uphold whatever it is they think the media should teach. Also, Disney Renaissance came from gay theater writers. Yeah, exactly. It's true. Yeah, the thing is, though, the driving issue, not to get this to be too political, but I think the driving issue is that a lot of people are seeing that Disney is not just being inclusive, but they're trying to push an agenda of trying to indoctrinate kids into a gay lifestyle, whether that's true or not. And I would say, including certain characters is not necessarily trying to indoctrinate any kids. The term is grooming them. I don't necessarily see it that way. However, to be fair though, the media is sort of pushing that, in that the way they talk about how this is the first this character, this is the first this kind of character in there. And it does feel like with Disney, a lot of the properties have an identity first agenda, where it's like that's more important than anything else in the story. It's more important to have the identity of the character's identity front and center rather than putting story front and center. You know, it, especially if the story is so unbelievably weak and uninteresting. And then the honestly, the way sort of they've been playing kind of the gender politics and the media, in the media, has been playing gender politics with some of the characters. Like, you know, they'll again, this is seen back in, this is not a Disney product, it's seen back in the Ghostbusters remake with the women, like the female version of the Ghostbusters, and it felt like the media and the company were basically saying, well, you don't like the female Ghostbusters because you're a misogynist, right? And that generates a lot of heat, right? And to a studio executive, they say heat. Oh, that means people are paying attention. That means it's good for our movie because people are interested in the movie. Well, not necessarily. It's that old school, like any publicity is good publicity. It's not true anymore, really. I don't think that's true. I think it's kind of a shallow way to look at it. But anyhow, where am I going with this? I don't know. But I'm just saying that what I'm trying to do is also acknowledge that there, you know, people that think that Disney is woke, and people that think Disney is attempting to groom their children, you know, you can't just wave them away and say, "Oh, you guys are full of it. You don't know what you're talking about." You know, you got to consider what they're saying and then see like what's happening and how it's how you are feeding that. Because I think it may not just be they're just making stuff up. They may see certain things, and the way, also like I said, the way the media plays the gender wars, the way these movies kind of put identity front and center. I think there's something to that, and I feel like properties that don't do that, that just back off of it and just allow story or entertainment to kind of take over, succeed in spite of that. Because I don't think anybody would say, I don't know, I think there are people that would say everything everywhere all at once is woke. I'm sure people would say that. I'm absolutely sure that people would say that. But I don't think the general population thinks that, though. I think they find the story good and it's entertaining. Okay, sure, there's a lesbian daughter, but it's not the front and center. It's not the front and center. Anyhow, I've been ignoring your chats. Let's go back here. I thought I was gay for a short while. Don't cut the clip out. But then I learned the prohibitive standards of hygiene and all that dancing, modified black books reference. My reference to that is like, I thought I was gay until I sat on a cucumber at one time. And then I discovered I'm not. That's, what's his name? Remember that show Insomniac? Not Dave Chappelle. Dave, oh gosh. I gotta look it up. Insomniac, Dave Attell, not Chappelle. Attell, Dave Attell. I loved that show, man. Dave Attell. Those are some good days in early 2000s, right? Out of high school. That was a Dave Attell joke. Disney has a bad habit of burying its gay representation, like Strange World. They had a gay lead character and got virtually no marketing before the release and ended up bombing. Well, I think Strange World was kind of a very, very. I don't think it was a very good movie. I never saw it, but from what I heard, it was a pretty lousy movie to begin with. So maybe that's why they didn't end up selling it. But Rigel 7 says something can be gay and still be good. Look at Top Gun. Exactly. Like Top Gun is so gay. Top Gun is super homoerotic, but it's gay without there's homoeroticism, and then there's like fairy dancing kind of prissy gay, right? There's Top Gun sweaty dudes like hitting volleyballs kind of gay versus prancing people gay. There's a difference. Like I've seen a lot of I like live theater, and you're watching the male dancers they're probably gay, but they're not like hee 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 hee. They're dancing some pretty badass moves. Difference. I don't think anyone is trying to indoctrinate anyone into LGBT realm. I think it's more just they want to get to feels it's okay if they are or discover they are later in life. That's a fine line, though. That's that I think, and that's the fine line between that. The the again again, looking at the larger realm of what people are seeing, and that's the thing. You have stuff like those drag queen shows for children. Now, if it's like drag queen show hour for children and it's like Mrs. Doubtfire, the conservative right probably wouldn't care that much. It's just that when they start sexualizing some of those drag queen shows, or it's just like, or now they're like in their underwear and they're gyrating, the conservative right's going to look at that like, what's going on here, right? They're gonna prick their eyes a little. So they start seeing this pattern of like, oh fuck, the drag queens are trying to like lap dance for kids out there, and they start seeing this stuff and other stuff pop up, like materials pop up, and it's just like, remember that? I don't know if you guys, I don't know if you're not inside the space, you might not see it, but there was a thing with Blue's Clues that they had. Blue's Clues had the thing with a not drag, transsexual thing with Blue's Clues, and they came out and said, "Oh yeah, we use a transsexual flag and colors and all that stuff." So there's elements in there. It's kind of hard to deny that there is some necessary indoctrination. But again, I agree with you want people to feel that it's okay to be who you are, right? It's okay that if you don't fit into a box, if you don't fit into a binary, it's okay. It's fine. You don't have to fit into a binary. You can be yourself, right? You don't have to necessarily chop off your genitals. Okay. That's some of me. All right. Some of it might feel ham-fisted, but that's the side of society that's getting its moment right now. That's the thing. It also feels like a lot of the stuff that's going on is literally just for clicks. It's just for clicks. It's just attention. Like, all right, I'll just talk about it. The Dylan Mulvaney thing with the Bud Light thing, the right wing is getting way more play out of it than it needs to be. Like the right wing and the Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light's crap, they're eating it up because for them it's just money in the bank. It's money in the bank. They don't want it to go away. They want that to be the number one topic. And yeah, I agree. It's a stupid to have him represent Bud Light. It doesn't make any sense. It's not from a business perspective. It's just dumb. Obviously the right wing is going to boycott the crap out of Bud Light now, as they be expected. But it's just, let's not kid ourselves that it's like the best thing that happened. Kid Rock got his name back in the news for doing that. Who was talking about Kid Rock until he started blowing up those Bud Light, Do you think that all this gender woke stuff is organic, or Hollywood echo chamber, or something nefarious? Honestly, I think it's a little bit more nefarious. I am not above the conspiracy theories that some of this stuff is generated to sow seeds of tumultuousness, and I wouldn't put it past China to be kind of pushing this a little harder. However, it's one of those things where it's like all you need is a little bit of smoke, and everyone starts looking for fire. So you've got my tinfoil theory is that Mulvaney is an elaborate Andy Kaufman comedic hoax on everyone. I don't think that's the case, although it does seem to have every bit of evidence that might be true, because his performance is so over the top that it does come off performative. If he really is a woman, he wouldn't be doing that. It's, that's the thing. That's why I think it's my nose itching. That means I'm probably in very dangerous discussion right now. Yeah, there you go. Meryl's got a good point. I think Peter Pan, when popularized by Disney Animation 70 years ago, the phrase Peter Pan complex came into use for those who wouldn't stay childlike well into their adult years. Yeah, that's actually a good insight, good shade angle of discussion, because a lot of Peter Pan syndrome going on there. A lot of Peter Pan syndrome. My nose. Dang. Yeah, and X-Men has always been about the gays, made by the gay director, acted by a genius gay actor. I don't remember Fox ever lecturing anybody about the importance of LGBT acceptance. And like I say, even going back to the comic books, it was all about feeling, being outed as being somewhat different, right? And that's the thing, and I guess that's the hardest thing. Okay, so I'm going to say my piece about the trans stuff. The hardest part about the trans movement right now is that on one hand, like, there's this huge movement toward fat acceptance, right? You love the way you are, but if you're born in the wrong body, then you hate your body for what it is. You must be different. Whereas I think the better message is love who you are. If you're a woman in a man's body, then love the fact that you're not necessarily fit into that binary. You're non-binary, for the lack of a better term. It's okay. It's okay to be a man but not feel like a man. It's okay to be a woman, not feel like a woman. Not feel like the way you think a woman ought to feel, or what society tells you women ought to feel. It's okay. It's okay not to be normal. It's okay not to be, not to be anything. So, that's my point. Tread lightly, John. Tread lightly. Exactly. Like that's just the way I feel like we're just gone insane. We're just gone insane, and partly talk about like how is this organic or is it not? I don't know if it is entirely organic. I feel like it might be some things trying to stoke the fire, and if it is actually conspiracy, they're doing a damn good job of it. Damn good job of hiding their tracks. But I don't feel like it is, because I think if you just go out in the real world and you just go out and see the real life, it's not as crazy. It's not as crazy as it is online. Sometimes it's hard to be a woman, giving all your love to just one man. I know that feeling. No, I don't. I think, to be honest, are we not being honest here? I think being a man is oftentimes suckier. Like, it's totally suckier. Okay, being a non-attractive man is suckier than anything. Okay, to let you into my life, my shoulder's hurting. I'm working this morning on a video on my Student of the Year project. I have to cut video, and I'm just thinking, like, man, it'd be nice to have a wife come by and just rub me on the shoulders and say, I'm going out today. You want anything in the store? Like, no, I don't want anything. But no, I can't. I'm a dude. I gotta provide for a wife. I can't just get married. I gotta provide for the person, right? And then go on those dating sites, and no one ever talks to me. The last person I talked to somebody was like, I'm not really interested in dating, but you seem like a cool person. I was like, well, what? You want to just talk to me? You're on a dating site, you want to talk to me, but you're not interested in dating me. You're just gonna friend zone that right to the right to the finish line. We're not even bother. We're not even pretend. We're just gonna friend zone this thing. I'm like, okay, fine. Anyhow, I think as much as women complain about how hard it is to be a woman, it's hard to be a man too. Therapy, YouTube, stand up. There we go. Are we in therapy mode? I think we are. Very much in therapy mode. Let's see. What else are we saying? How is it you can be born in the wrong body if sex is assigned at birth? I don't get it. Well, yeah. That's why it's like, accept the fact that you don't... It's okay to be a girly man. It's okay to be a mannish girl. It's not... The way I grew up, it's not hard. We all go through hardships in life. We all grow up and have a hard time growing up and becoming who we are. I had a hard time growing up being who I am. I mean, I'm a little more free and open about my personality today. I can do this on stream without feeling like I'm feeling super embarrassed after the situation. We're into the most thorny subject of our day here. Exactly. Why can I do this? Because I don't know. I don't give a fuck anymore. Maybe that's why. So you draw me to the point. Like, why should it be the most thorny subject? Why is it the most thorny subject in the world? Why is, talking about how You know, the experience of growing up and not feeling like you belonged. Why is that thorny? Why is that such dangerous territory? Because we decided it's got to be horrible. It's got to be the most. Um, I don't know. I could tell you why. I guess I could tell you why. Because people are super fragile. Super fragile. I remember seeing. I think it was Jonathan Haidt was talking about how like ever since we started this whole anti-bullying campaign, and I've always hated the anti-bullying campaigns. It's like, no, I agree. We should. Bullying is bad. I agree. But bullying is also how you kind of learn to like stand up for yourself and not be a pushover. But if we have no bullying whatsoever, it's like people are super soft. Absolutely. People, it's thorny because media and politicians have made it political. Well, let's not make it. Let's take it back. Fuck the media. Fuck the politicians. I don't give it, this is America. You didn't hear me rant about dignitaries earlier? I don't care if you're a dignitary. You represent so-and-so's office. I don't care. This is America. I'm just as good as any dignitary. I should get respected as well. It's a thorny subject because not everybody knows how to speak about it in an enlightened manner, and others don't know how to listen in an enlightened manner. Yeah, I agree with that too. Unless you are hermaphrodite, why use the word they as a pronoun? The hardest thing. So, all right, we're late into this. So some of the what you call it, theater stuff. A lot of people use pronouns and stuff like that. They can be used. I use the word pronoun they when I talk about somebody, and I'm trying to either include both genders, so I don't say him or her. Like that director, if you're a director and you want yours in, or let's say a director may want their scene to be, very, very bright, or they may think that the scene needs to be brighter. So instead of saying he or she might think that, I might use the word they because it's just as a way to plaster it over, right? And it's grammatically correct to say, it depends on what they think, what that person thinks. I've thought about this a lot, I don't know if you can tell. But there are places where they is just grammatically insane. Like, did they take the store? Did they buy the groceries from the store? Oh, you mean Gerald over there? No, they. I mean Gerald. No, they. Like, no, doesn't work. Does not work whatsoever. But I don't like anti-bullying because I'm a bully. 4 eyes. I like this one. So I got comments like, why should I listen to a fat balding guy on YouTube? I'm like, dude, I'm not balding. I'm bald. I'm bald, not balding. Like YouTube bullying has made me stronger. We say Peter Pan complex unconsciously, almost forgetting where it came from, and now it's acceptable, just like being unemployed. It's not evil to be unemployed; it's just a measure of adulthood, or was. Yeah. You make good points, Meryl. I don't even know what to say with that. It's true. Yeah, they can be used as a neutral term. Yeah, grammatically, there's plenty of uses where they works. It's just requiring certain kinds of they is just sort of very, very difficult. And frankly, I'm not going to buy into it. Being fragile is needing to be controlled. It's not the 40s in Europe. No more brown shirts and too much plebs too. I'm not sure if it is. I don't know. Are we in the 40s Europe? Have you seen some of these protests? It's almost as if an insane cult invented a brand new gender ideology and just recently, and our languages are desperately trying to catch up. Yeah. I think a lot of it, again, like I was talking about how earlier, that a lot of time we spend online is arguing with people in our own heads. Right, like I remember having this issue, and again, I have it with the frame rate stuff too. It's like the comments I was getting on my frame rate video about the 10 frames a second were all people arguing with me, thinking I was saying something I wasn't saying. So in essence, they were arguing with their own person, their own straw man in their head, And I'm sitting there like, I'm not saying that, brother. I'm not saying that. Like, you don't understand what I'm saying. So, one of the things I always, not to get away from this lovely topic, which will definitely never, ever, ever cause any issues with my career ever whatsoever. One of the things I was talking about, I keep pushing this idea that more frames isn't more information; it's different information, and that has been a very, very for me. Looking at approaching frame rate in that perspective, that it's not more information. Showing you more frames per second is not not giving your brain more information. It's putting maybe more information in your retina, but your retina is not figuring all that out. It's different. Your retina sees a different information. The frame rate appears differently. It looks different, which I think everybody can agree with. Like, more frames looks different than fewer frames. It's not that it's more information. It's not more information shoved into your brain. It's a different kind of information, right? And I have so many people fight me on that one. And I don't understand necessarily why, other than the fact that they are stuck in a word thinking. Like, if I say your eye only sees 10 frames a second, people think that means that your brain or your eye is experiencing a screen that's 10 frames a second. But that's not what it means. Or it means that you can't see anything above 10 frames a second. But the reality is, if I take a camera shooting 10 frames a second and I shoot a screen that's shooting 100 frames a second, it'll look different than the screen shooting 10 frames a second. Like, we're so stuck in words. We're so stuck in definitions, words, and things, right, that don't represent reality. I don't know if I'm getting any of that across. Like the other day, this one guy was starting to argue with me about, like, oh, you didn't do this thing, and I said, you know what? Like, if our brain was as simple as the way you're making it out to be, like because he was arguing that our brains have a frame rate. And that frame rate is the electrical pulses, because there are certain electrical pulses that happen in our brain. I said, if that were true, that's what frame rate is, then we would have a bionic eye right now. We would have a bionic eye. It'd be trivial. And immediately when I wrote that, I thought, well, he's going to come back and tell me we have a bionic eye, isn't he? Immediately, oh, we already have a bionic eye. Don't you know that? It's like, well, we do, but it's not really a bionic eye. It's sort of. The bionic eye we have right now is sort of like a little camera, and it's got like little lights that attach to your retina, and they kind of flash lights into your retina. So you're not seeing anything, but you're getting a signal that something's there, right? But the point of that ramble there was that he was getting angry at me because I said I was defining the bionic eye as something that you could take out your eyeball and just put a bionic eye and attach it to your brain and it would work, right? Like, we were stuck in a disagreement because of a meaning of a word. When, like, I think what I was trying to explain, it's based on my interpretation of the word. If we were talking in good faith, if we were talking to communicate, you could say, oh, he's meaning bionic eye as in like an eye that works just like a real eye would work. Whereas I know we have a bionic eye, but the bionic eye is just some flashlights, dude. It's not like the real thing. Anyhow, I forget how I even got here, but just it is the limitation of online discussion, online speech. So I appreciate this back and forth. I'm doing a horrible job expressing myself. I hear every single time I say I hear all my stutters. I feel like my thoughts are not even necessarily connecting anywhere. If I were to transcribe this thing and read it back, I'd say this guy is just, he's unfit for human thought. He's an idiot, right? But we're communicating in a human, verbal way, and it's allowed to be a little looser. It's allowed to be a little back and forth. I'm reading your comments. Yeah, my nose is itching. My shoulder is not feeling as bad as it used to be, so I'm feeling better about that. But anyhow. Nuance is the new N-word. There you go. It is definitely the new N-word. You nuanced. You're such a nuanced. So nuanced. Ugh. Partly because adulthood used to be more standardized. If you're an adult, you're an adult if you have to take care of a child. Now there's more parents with less maturity. I feel like I got an adult because now I got to take care of my parents. That's more. It's like, it's like my mom took care of me as a baby. Now I had to take care of my mom because she's kind of like a baby. Yeah. I saw The Hobbit when it came out in IMAX high frame rate 3D in the huge theater, and HFR really made it feel like that I was in that world. There you go. I was watching King Kong, and somebody did the high frame rate to it, and it's amazing how much, in my eyes, man. Again, like I feel like I got to pull this card on everybody because like I'm older and I've watched a lot of TV and I've watched a lot of movies, and when I watch King Kong in like 60 frames a second, and the actors are like moving around, it just feels like a cheap TV show. It feels like a total cheap TV show. Douglas Trumbull's brainstorm implied 120 frames per second can brainwash us. I blame Douglas Trumbull for that whole more information for your brain. That whole thing that the Douglas Trumbull was saying, oh, higher frame rate's more information for your brain. No, it's not. It's a different kind of information. It's a different kind of, and one of the thought experiments about why it's not more information is because all of our discussion about frame rate is entirely focused on what happens when you look at a screen. But what happens when you're not looking at a screen? If you had two screens, if you have a 60 hertz monitor and a 240 hertz monitor next to each other, if you look over here and you look over here, do you suddenly feel like all of a sudden I got more information? Or do they just look different? If you look at a 60 hertz monitor of a camera focused on something that's moving, and then you take your eyes off the camera and look at the actual thing that's moving, do you suddenly feel like, oh my God, I'm getting more information? Or do you just know that there's something different? I think that's the thing. So I call it the information whiplash. Do you get information whiplash the second you take your eyes off a monitor and look in the real world? Do you just suddenly get, oh my God, a whiplash, more information, I can't take it. No, you don't. Because it's not more information. Your brain, your eyes and your brain are just working. They always work. And then you look at a monitor and it's doing its thing. And you look at another monitor, it's doing its thing. They look different. It's not about more, not about less. It's about different. Frame rate being higher, giving more information applies to video games. No, I disagree. It's not more information. It's the same. It's the same. Now, so the difference is like it's more information from the monitor to here. I agree with that, right? There's more frames, more information. But as soon as it crosses the retina, as soon as it hits the retina, it's the same information. The retina to the brain, it's the same. It's the same information. It's just different kinds of information. So the answer is like, well, are you saying that like 24 FPS is the same as 124 FPS? No, I'm not saying. I said they're different. So you can make decisions based on different kinds of information. So more frames, maybe you can make a decision quicker. Okay, it's different information, not more. It's not more. It's the same information. Yeah, it's more information produced, but not more information captured by the brain. Exactly. And I fight that. So, I mean, maybe I can do it now when you can hear my voice, you can hear my inflection, you can understand what I'm trying to get at. It comes across better than if I just try to write it out in a comment. It doesn't get, I have so much fight with that concept. Oh my God, such a hard fight. Because I think that problem is that we simplify the universe into things that we understand. Like I was bringing up the point with this one guy that when I was a kid growing up, we were taught the atom has, a nucleus, which has a bunch of balls, and then they have electron orbits, which are just like these little orbits, like a solar system. So the solar system model of the atom, right? And that's how we learned. And as I grow up a little older, and you learn about electron clouds, and you learn about probability, electron clouds, and it's not necessarily an orbital. It's more like electrons are found in this shape, and the clouds aren't necessarily circular. They're globes. They fit like this and this and this, right? So we tend to simplify things to the most basic, our most familiar model. And frame rate is a model that we're all familiar with as far as cameras, as far as television. It's a simple model. So we tend to apply that to everything, the way our brains work, the way we think. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. It's a lot more complicated than that. Yeah, experience needs another way besides words to describe it. Yeah. And I feel like we've come to the point where words are failing us a lot of times. Words, again, and it might also be the fact that a lot of people that really argue hard with me don't have a firm grasp on the words. They'll say like, I'll say, hey, what's the frame rate of the eye? Like, no, it doesn't mean that. Well, use the words properly. I know. Allergy time, I'm itchy eyes and nose as well. Yeah, it's gotten hot too, so that's why I'm constantly scratching. All right. I like my movies at 24 FPS, an interactive game at 60 or 120 have a real benefit because the controllers. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing is, like, I've never, ever once disagreed with that. Ever. Like, I've never told people, like, you need a game at 24 frames a second. It just automatically assumes that they should. Like, I've never, ever said it. I never ever said, oh, you need to put your game. I've said that I've tried to game at 24 FPS and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. But no one ever freaking knew. Temporal resolution is a real thing, but it's only relevant in very specific. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about like temporal resolutions from the screen, but as soon as it hits the retina, it becomes the same information. It all boils down to the same thing. It's like you can throw all this stuff. Andre, temporal resolution is only part of the broader subject of frame rate because I can include perceived frame rate and actual frame rate. Perhaps. Like if you were to say though that a 2-2 pull down, like 120 frames a second, with two repeating frames, it's really no longer 120 frames. That's not even the actual frame rate. The actual frame rate is going to be 60 because you're talking about individual frames. You'd be careful even to jump between. About the title, do you think that the hero's journey limited or expanded Mario potential, or simply that it provides a serviceable story? I think the hero's journey, as far as Mario is concerned, is that you can recognize the pattern of the hero's journey inside the Mario movie, and that I think it might also help. And the ultimate goal of that was to try to explain a couple things. Was like Peach's role in the movie and Luigi's role in the movie. I feel like you can, if you look at it from the perspective of a hero's journey model, that it makes more sense than a lot of other things. Than just like sitting there like, girl boss, too overpowered. Like, no, there's a reason why she's there. All right, what are we doing? Sooner? Controls are why high frame rates matter, because your input applies sooner. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's part of the aesthetic. Now, yeah, it's a different experience. So again, even that is subject for debate. There are some people out there that will talk about the way you perceive something by the time your brain decides what to do with it, and it sends a signal to your hand to move the controller, that all the gains that you think you're getting from the frame rate are lost just by the amount of time it takes to create that process. And I would counter with that is that, well, you're watching, it's like a feedback loop. You're watching a higher frame rate. It's going to feel different. It's going to feel snappier. So if it feels snappier, you might react snappier. It might react as a quicker response to it. Let's see. I like the technical vision of making movies, but to me, it's much more important to find a way to tell a tale. Sure. Yeah, the polling rate increases with the high frame rates just so it feels smoother and more direct. I'm not sure what the polling rate. Are you talking about the polling rate for the mouse? Because don't try to equate anything technological with the brain. Like, just don't do that. but I'll let you go with that. The advantage of 24 FPS is filming with a longer shutter time. One of the things I was going to do a video on, and you tell me if this is even worth it. I've had more than one person tell me that you can just shoot 48 frames a second with a 360 degree shutter. It's the same thing as shooting 24 frames a second because it's the same amount of motion blur, right? Because 24 at 180 is the same thing as 48 at 360, right? It's the same thing. It's the same amount of time. 24 at 180 is 1/48th of a second, and 48 frames a second at 360 is a 48th of a second. It's the same motion blur, and that's what filmmakers really love about film. It's motion blur, right? It annoyed me so much that I kind of lost my cool and had to cuss this guy out because it's like, no, they're not the same. Like, well, no, pause the video. Look, they're the same motion blur, dude. It's like, no, they're not the same because part of the problem is our eyes don't see frames. Our eyes sees this is what I mean by not more information. This is what I mean by different information. All right, after 10 frames a second, it's all the same soup. It's just different ingredients. And so you're saying, well, pause. You're not seeing each frame. It's not the same motion blur. You have to consider the motion blur across a series of frames. So you can't evaluate motion blur by pausing a video. You have to watch the video through. Okay? I don't know if anybody... I love how we always up in frame rate because it's just on top of my mind. It's true, honestly true. But I don't know if anybody sees that as like a question I need to address or something like that. It's like seeing a math equation. Once comprehended, you don't continue to comprehend it over and over. Something like frame rates. The thing is, like, and that's the thing I was trying to address with the frame rate of the eye is like, you see more than one frame at a time. You see about 3 of them at the same time. You kind of experience 3 frames at a time. Anyhow, I don't know. Is that worth talking about? At Brandon, you can't be serious. The hero's journey is archetype 1,000 years old. Who's Brandon saying? Oh, Brandon. What did Brandon say? I didn't watch the Mario movie yet, but is it really another hero's journey story? Great. More Illuminati propaganda. I'm pretty sure Brandon is just joking with that. Let's see. What else are we saying? We see what our brains allow us to see. I think we see what our brains think we saw. It's all real-time simulation. It's all simulation theory. Satan says, I don't think that Mario fits Hero's Journey. Of course it does. Where does it go? He has a conflict with his old boss, conflict with his father, sits alone in a dark room and I watch it like, who is this? It doesn't have certain elements of the hero's journey, but it is very much hero's journey. I might see Mario as a catabasis story with the way you describe the plot. Go to hell, get out, learn something simple. No, I don't think so. I think it's more hero's journey. And it's also one of those things where it's like Occam's razor. If you had to pick a story structure for a Mario movie, it's going to be kind of a kids movie. You'd pick Hero's Journey. I mean, you wouldn't. It's not going to be like a go to hell, come back kind of thing. Because Mario ends up, spoiler, Mario ends up at the end of the movie living in hell. Animation that draws the motion blur is really insightful and looks more lively. So I watched Addams Family 2. So if you haven't watched the Addams Family animated movies, they're pretty darn good. They're more good. They're better than they have a right to be. They really are. But I watched 2, and I was amazed how smooth it looked. It looks super smooth. Like, has anyone ever complained about a Pixar movie having stutter? Like, no, Pixar movies are perfect cinematography. Yeah, one of my videos I'm thinking about is basically how to be smart about shooting 24 frames a second. Have I seen Empire of Light? No, I have not. I need to watch it. The trailer they talk about how movies run at 24 FPS and we can perceive it as motion and cannot see the darkness in between the frames anymore. Must be your movie. I gotta watch it. Yeah, look, I'm a little bit torn on watching movies about movies because it ultimately reminds me of my ultimate failure of not being a full-time movie maker. I just make whatever this stuff is, but I should watch it. Yeah, the human eye's lens is only sharp in the center. The rest is blurry. We see everything as shape because the brain is doing something amazing compositing. Yeah. Ultimate goal of learning all this stuff is how much the brain is involved with vision. It's the human eye's lens is just kind of garbage. It really is. I'm not totally serious, but the hero's journey and occult symbolism has been subverted into Illuminati themes. Yeah. Some say that I might have been. Some people noted that in my frame rate video on the eye, I did have some Illuminati symbolism. That's not Illuminati, guys. That's just the cult that I belong to. We're just picking out a world leader. You know, it's part of my lizard people group meetup. You know, we just hang around. We take off our masks. You know, we just chill, eat some babies, whatever. It's all cool, and we talk about who's going to be basically the ruler of the earth until all time. Honestly, I would depict fairy tale style old Disney movies like Sleeping Beauty because that's the basic what games are, but Hollywood treats those kind of straightforward plots like poison. For a Mario Brothers movie, you wouldn't pick a Sleeping Beauty. Although, let's see. We got to think about Sleeping Beauty because we got to go deep dive into what Sleeping Beauty... I go back to the original, Grimm's Fairy Tales sources. Am I excited to see Oppenheimer? I am. I would like to see it. I want to watch that, and I watch Barbie movie. I want to watch. Asteroid City. I want to watch that Charlie Day movie that I forgot the name of already. Yeah, Rigel's his cult worship blue oysters, so that's pretty cool. I would say yes, it would be pretty cool. All right, I'm going to tell you the name of the Charlie Day's movie. Here it is, Fool's Paradise. Fool's Paradise. I just got to support it because I like Charlie Day. I would love to meet Charlie Day. Totally would love to meet Charlie Day. Let's see. I'm trying to find what the guy said here. Oh, I don't see it. Oh, well. Charlie Day and Bill Hader together in a room. Yeah, somebody was saying that the Barbie movie was geared toward kids. I don't think it is. I really, every bit of marketing that I've seen so far shows that the Barbie movie is geared toward people with a sense of humor. It's just, I don't think it is at all geared for kids. Are you actually recommending the Alan's Family animated movies? Yeah, I would say I like them. Let's see. How far off am I in that prediction? Addams Family animated. Like the 2019 animation got 3 out of 5 or 5.8 out of 10. That's a little low for it. 3.5. I give it 3.5. 3.5 out of 5, which is a recommendation. Addams Family 2, I thought it wasn't as good as animated as the first one, but it was pretty good. It's still cute. It's a good passable movie. What's the rating on that one? 5.8 out of 10? No, that's for the original animated. Don't stop everything you do right now and watch it. But it's fun. Let's see, where's the 2? I want to see what the second one got. How the second one did. Addams Family. Addams Family 2. The second one, probably lower. I'm guessing like 5. What's the rating on that? 5.4. So that's about the same. Wasn't far off. Second one is not as good as the first, but it's still cute. Watch Ed Wood. Yeah, the Ed Wood's a good... I haven't seen it in a long time, but good movie. Everything I've seen about Barbie looks great. It makes people who ever never cared about Barbie mad too, which is a plus in my book. Why are people upset about that movie? I don't understand. Like people, I got a friend that thinks I'm crazy for thinking I want to see what's wrong with wanting to see Barbie movie? It doesn't look like it's taking itself seriously. It's not Malibu Barbie, the straight to DVD release. It's just more. I think it's going to be closer to the Lego Movie, honestly. The only downside of Barbie movie is that Mattel and Aqua's beef for not keeping the song out of it. I mean, I get it. You got to figure they might come to an agreement. I don't know, but if they don't, oh well. So when I was a kid, I was very mischievous as a kid, and I had a principal at my high school when I was a freshman. His name was Dick Glock, and he always got on the radio. Hi, this is Dick Glock here. I'm Dick Glock. I'm talking to you from the Temecula Valley High School. Go Bears! He always talked like that. So I would make fun of him. So I released a concept album of Dick Glock singing all the major hits. So I have I'm a Barbie girl from a Barbie world. It's fantastic. Life in plastic. So that's what I would do. So that's my story about the Barbie song. I have him sing that. I have him sing all the living la vida loca, upside, inside out, living la vida loca. So people are mad because they emasculated Ken. I mean, did they never ever played with Ken dolls before? I mean, they're not exactly full of. They're not packing, that's for sure. Dick Glock, it's Glock like the gun. Dick Glock, the leading brand of chastity belt. Now look here, we got chastity belts here. This is what I did. I don't even know if the guy's still alive anymore. I don't know what happened to Dick Glock. But like Dick Glock was like, I was just making, and I would draw like Dick Glock, a cartoon, and I would have him like Dick Glock and all the kids fleeing from him, but they were all like swastikas. Because Dick Glock was like authoritarian. What's the plot of Barbie? What's the target audience? No hate toward it, but Aqua song already satire and Barbie enough for me. I honestly think the target audience is adults. I don't think it's for kids. Well, let's find out. You can kind of guess by the rating. Let's see, Barbie movie. I think I'm going to guess you the Barbie movie is rated PG or PG-13. I'm going to bet you it's PG-13. Oh, there's the trailer for it. Let's see. Barbie 19. I think it's kind of being the same line of like in a way Lego movie, but maybe a little more tongue in cheek. Let's see. Do they have the rating up yet or not? I don't think they do. I mean, it's not. I don't think it'll be R-rated. Barbie movie rating. Let's see. It is rated. How do you have a 7.2 review? Come on, don't give me that crap. What's the movie rated? PG-13 is what this one says. So it's not geared toward kids, but it's not geared toward, it's not, it's, you're going to allow the teenagers to come see it because I think the teenagers will get a kick out of it because it'll be kind of a satire. I imagine, just gathering by what I saw in the trailer, that Barbie is going to leave Malibu, Barbie Land, and go into the real world. It's going to be like a fish out of water kind of a thing. That's my hint as where this is going. That's what I think. But we have until July to find out. Apparently Barbie was inspired by The Matrix and Truman Show. That sounds about right. Yeah, that's what I think it's going to be. Yeah, Dick Lock. Oh, gotcha. Dick Lock. Dick Lock. Okay, now you get the chastity belt line. Now I get it. My school of thought on HFR is positive, but you need to actually change the frame rate, shutter, drag, and each according to the scenes. Problem is, people are going to watch that lower frame rate as a technical mess. Well, I don't think changing frame rate is a good idea because I saw Avatar 2. It's not good. So my thought on frame rate, we're going back on frame rate, is frame rate is a medium. Frame rate is like working with marble or whatever. There's a difference in working with marble versus working with like clay. So as soon as you switch out of 24 frames a second, it's no longer the same medium anymore. So you're in a different kind of a medium. And so I think artistically it never works because it feels like you're watching something different. It's like This example, is given a lot is, the ones I always give, I feel like I'm boring myself talking about saying this over and over again, is the Gary Shandling show, whatever. I forget, Gary Shandling. He had a TV show where he's in real life he's 24 frames a second, but when he goes on his talk show he's in 60i or 30. It has a different feel, different character. And that's also culturally ingrained because, like television is the format of 30 and 60, and film is the format of 24. So it's a Larry Sanders show. Thank you, Gary Shandling. Larry Sanders show. What about Hoffmaniata? I don't know what Hoffmaniata is. Is Barbie popular with kids today? Every adult grew up with it, and that brand was totally dominant. Yeah, I don't know what kids play. I think kids play with. They play with Barbies. I think it's like kids play with Legos still. It's funny. I was in a class and I was late, and they said, "Hey, Mr. Hess, if you didn't get here another 5 minutes, we're ready to play Heads Up 7 Up." And I'm like, "No, it was Four Corners." Like, you kids still play Four Corners? I'm like 20 years older than you, and you still play Four Corners? So yeah, we play Four Corners. And you still play Heads Up 7 Up? Yeah, we play Heads Up 7 Up. And I'm like, how? How do you kids still play that stuff? And I'm like, yeah. Have you ever tried to see the difference between PAL and NTSC? Not in the traditional form. Like, I never looked at a PAL TV and then tried to compare it to a 60 TV. No, I can't see that. I can see maybe like the 50 might flicker a little harder. As Andre said, the flicker barely above the rate at which we can see flicker. I think it's right about there. A lot of Americans complain about how 50i television flickers more, but I've not personally seen the difference like in their native native version. I mean, I've done it with 50 versus 60 on a screen, and to me they don't look too much different. They're pretty close. Oh, more so because Glock sounds like Nixon. I'm trying to. How do I describe what he looked like? He looked like Mr. Belvedere. Think of Mr. Belvedere. That was Dick Glock. That was what he looked like. He had that little mustache, and that like kind of a fatter face with the hair, the real thin hair. But yeah. Anyhow. All right, what time is it? 4:47. I've been on here for, 2 hours now? Let's go till 5, and I got to go home. And so tonight I'm making chicken, because I've had chicken in my refrigerator for a while. I need to cook it. But I got the Nashville hot seasoning on there, because I'm addicted. Honestly, I'm addicted to Nashville hot chicken. I really am. It's pretty. I need to go to like a AA meeting for it. Hoffmaniata. Let's see. Let's take a look. What is Hoffmaniata? Somebody else is mentioning it. Hoffmaniata. What is that? Oh, it's a fairy fantasy. Oh, 2018 stop motion animated feature from Soyuz Multifilm. Sweet. What's that even about? Oh, okay. It's like these little dolls. These cute. Oh, looks pretty cool. Well, if I can find it somewhere, I might watch it. Or I'll watch Ed Wood, or I don't know. Well, I think I want to watch something tonight. Stay away from the Food Network? Why? Why should I stay away from the Food Network? What's wrong with the Food Network? Oh, they don't like hot chicken? I don't know. Maybe that's that why. I'm making General Tso's chicken. Hey, if you guys watched, there's a really good documentary on General Tso's chicken. It's really kind of fascinating. If you thought the documentary about Helvetica was awesome, then the documentary about General Tso's chicken is even more interesting. I mean, too long didn't watch kind of thing. But General Tso's chicken is actually was invented by a Taiwanese chef working in New York City. Like it's kind of based on a a Taiwanese style chicken, but there is no General Tso. Yeah. I did not know the General Tso until there was that doc. Yeah, I never really got, because I get like orange chicken, which is basically orange chicken, which is like Panda Express's. It's like General Tso's chicken. It's pretty close, but it's not as spicy. Like General Tso's chicken is spicier. But I really love that General Tso's chicken doc because it told you more about like why there's so many Chinese restaurants around the world or around the U.S. and what's going on with that. How is Cass doing? Is that my friend Cass? He's doing good. We're going to Vegas tomorrow. Yeah, check him out on Twitch. Yeah, the Helvetica talk was really good too, and it started me on a road for using Helvetica a lot. Now I don't use Helvetica anymore because it's no longer really available for free. Did you know that movies sped up to 25 FPS to convert to 50i for PAL? You're talking to the frame rate guy. Of course I knew that. When you switch to English language on DVD, the voices are somewhat pitched too high for bad conversions. Yeah, musicals have a big problem with that. Yeah, I don't think he's going by Wrongcast anymore. He's going to go by Architect now. So check him out. Most people interpret the headline as the highest frame rate humans concerned. You are right about 10 FPS, even though 8 to 6 is stationary camera, but seems semantics is causing trouble. Yeah. See, we're always going back to frame rate, guys. We're always going to talk about frame rate. Well, it's not just semantics. It's understanding what it means to see 10 frames a second, and that it doesn't mean it's the highest frame rate you can see. There's no such thing. It's like saying that if I shot a screen with a 10 frame rate per second camera, you could still be able to discern. It's not even a semantic thing. It's not understanding how frame rates actually work. Maybe there's a better headline that focuses more on biology vision systems, not saying frames per second. No, because that headline actually did exactly what it's supposed to do, which is directly answer the question. And I think Account for Comment left me a comment a long time ago on a video that said basically the title and the headline should have a little bit of drama to them. I should change my name to Frame Rate IQ. I've thought about that. But then I'd be stuck talking about frame rate the whole time. I don't want to do that. But anyhow, the Account for Comment was saying, and I found it to be true, that the titles that hint at drama tend to do really well. So if you can insert some drama into the title and into the thumbnail, then that will kind of encourage people to click on it and people to watch it, and that'll do better. So if I had a title that was perfectly, the biological sense, if it doesn't have any sort of clickbaity drama to it, then it's not going to get clicked on, no matter how good it is. Like my video about a video called the review of the physical therapy commercial. No one clicked on that. I mean, they could have learned a lot. It could have been a very useful video for a lot of people, but no one's going to click on it because it doesn't have any drama. You want drama. You want a little bit of something to entice people to watch. Yeah, most Asian takeout food in the West is designed for Westerners, and I'm fine with that. All Asian takeout food. Like there's nothing authentically Asian about anything in like a Panda Express or even a Chinese restaurant. Like I'm trying to think. Like if you went to a Taiwanese restaurant, like you would not find anything that you would find in a like a Panda Express or a Panda Express clone. And I'm not like downing Panda Express. I like Panda Express a lot. And if you actually go back and look at the history of Panda Express and like study like the business history, it's fascinating. Panda Express was started by some Chinese people that started it, and it was actually I believe I think he grew up in Kansas or something like that, and but he was trying to make it a go at something else, and but then he came out to California and decided he wanted to start a restaurant, so he had the Panda Inn. So he made a Panda Inn, and then I think somebody approached him about putting a restaurant in a mall. And he thought, let me come up with some like quick ways to make the dishes I serve at the Panda Inn I think it's Pasadena where it's at. The Panda Inn, I want to do that in a fast food mall place. So that's how Panda Express like essentially became all over the place. Why Yellow is Everywhere is one of my favorite videos. Thank you. But it's low view compared to the mini rants. I thought it had a pretty good play, didn't it? I thought it did. Let me see. I'll take a look. I think the Yellow video got a lot of attention all over the blogosphere because it was it's like one of those drama questions, right? Because you don't, it's a question you thought about, like why is there so much yellow? Let's see, content. Yellow is at 34. I guess it's a little low. 34,000 is more of a middle of the road video for me. Low is like 5,000. Under 10,000 is low video. And I've been producing a lot of under 10,000 videos lately. Like I just don't get a lot of high end, a lot of heavy clicks. Like my normal lens videos at 6,000 views, and I thought that for the longest time I thought those like studio videos were not going to do well. But that Fox video is at 30,000 views. That's pretty good. Even the William Fox video is at 34,000. So it's not. They just keep growing. They do well. In the long term, they do well. Short term, they don't do. I'm an Indian food guy. Oh, God. There's an Indian food place right by my gym. So I'm going to the gym. I'm like, oh, my God, I smell that Indian food. I just want to go have some Indian food. I love Indian food. Oh, last time you checked was at 10,000. So it got a little bit of love. I love Thai food. Thai food's pretty good. I like Thai food. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if they have. Well, I think Thai food is probably closer to what they eat in Thailand. Closer. John Wick is 24? Yeah. Basically, every movie is 24 unless they tell you it's not. But even in Avatar, it didn't really tell you that it wasn't. HFR is a medium where you can put whatever received frame rate you want into it according to the subject. Yeah, so that's semantic. So yeah, I mean, look, you can argue that 24 frames a second with a 3-bladed shutter is really 72 frames a second. It's not. Like, I want to be a purist and say that we talk about frame rate, we're talking about like, what's the number of frames per second if you were to have motion where each frame would be different? Because if I showed you the same frame twice, that's not increasing the frame rate. That's literally just the same frame. We're still talking about the Mario movie here. We're always talking about the Mario movie. The Mario movie never leaves my lips. It's always discussing the Mario movie. Anyhow. Have I had any clips go viral? Not really. I mean, not viral as in like, did I click on the right thing? I don't even know if I clicked on the right thing. No, I haven't had anything that go viral. I mean, I've had stuff get really high views. Like the biggest one was that green screen video that got like 3 million views. But it's not, I wouldn't call that viral necessarily. Like viral as in like people just consume it. Like the irony thing is like people like having a viral video probably doesn't mean a lot because it's like, well, you got 3 million views on that one video. Cool. But most people just saw it and like, went to the next thing. So. Yeah, the hottest Thai food here is not a quarter as hot as they are in Bangkok. Yeah, they always say, they joke around, like, do you want, on a scale of 1 to 5, how hot do you want it? Or do you want it, like, Asian hot, like, or real hot, Thailand hot or whatever. Not sure that Indian food is good for the dating market. It can be. Nothing wrong. This one girl I was chasing, she was a vegetarian, pescatarian. I hate it. Like, I'm a vegetarian, but you eat fish. Oh, I'm a pescatarian. It's like, get it right, man. But anyhow, I was so tempted to. We were so interested in going to eat Indian food because Indian food, vegetarians can have Indian food. There's a lot of options in Indian food. But I don't. Last time I saw her, I was very uncomfortable. We were both at the. She was hanging. She ended up being a lesbian, of course, as all the girls that I apparently get interested in. It's like, Sean, geez, forget the males of the species. I'm just going to go on the other team. So, but it ended very, very badly, and but it wasn't due to that. She came out lesbian after I dumped her, but it was. So I'm in the orchestra pit, and she's there with her friend who's the piano player, and they're like hanging out, and it's just uncomfortable. It's okay. Like after a while, like after she being down there for like 10 times, it's like, okay, whatever, it doesn't matter anymore. But it was like, Like, you don't need to avoid me. I'm not gonna like bite you. We still need to talk to each other. That's fine. Anyhow. Here in Brazil, a lot of kind of food we die without a little part native live culture, Afro-European seacoast fisheries. Oh my God, that sounds delicious. That sounds good. I like the Indian gal, says Rigel. I like them all. LMAO explains why I'm still single. Wing it. Yeah, I don't know why. I know why I'm single. It's because I'm just terrible. No, I don't have any opportunity to get to meet anybody. That's why I'm single. Pink triangle on a sleeve. Let me know the truth. Let me know the truth. No, she was wearing a Kamala Harris shirt. That's how I knew it was never going to work. Would have never worked, man. She got a Kamala Harris t-shirt. No. Like this isn't like just around the election. This is like last year. Like no. So the same problem. All the girls I later found out are lesbian. It's because we have similar interests. That's why. All right. I feel like the Mario movie wanted to be about brothers, but didn't want to make Peach a damsel in distress, so they snubbed in Donkey Kong for fight. I talked about, if you rewind back and watch the original, I talk about why Peach is more of a mentor than that's why it's important. And also, if you made her a damsel in distress, there wouldn't make any sense. It wouldn't make any sense for them to go chasing a damsel in distress. Pad Thai is one of the best dishes ever. I'm not a big fan of Pad Thai. I'll tell you what I'm a fan of. Drunken noodles. Drunken noodles are the best. You guys know this, like, the story about drunken noodles is like the idea was like, if a chef comes home late at night after drinking, they just throw stuff together. That's called drunken noodles. And I just love drunken noodles. So good. Oh yeah, we gotta watch some Dune movies here. Yeah, watch the next one. All right. I wish the film had explored more of Peach's backstory. I know what you're saying. Wink, wink. No, I'm just kidding. I think the movie was absolutely the right length, and they didn't want to make it any longer, because the movie is meant for kids. It's not meant for adults. I mean, it's meant for adults, but it's not. It's designed to be enjoyed with kids. All right. Dude, you give the woman their political views. They control you. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, you have not. I mean, that's like the opposite of American politics. American politics, I feel, is like the women control the political views. It's like you've got basically women, like the Democrats are basically the party of the women. Like whatever women say, that's what matters. And then all the other men have to like just appease the women, and that's what the Democrat Party is. And the Republicans are just basically men and women who have a brain. Sorry, that's me pulling political here. But no, yeah, you give the women the political views. All right, that'll give me a lot of minus subs right there. Just saying that. Thai green curry and pad thai are my thing. I like the green curry because it has bamboo shoots, and I love bamboo shoots. I love them. I love bamboo shoots. Christopher Walken is Emperor Shaddam the Fourth. I'm so there. There you go. Do I buy Blu-rays? And yes, if yes, the Ultra HD ones or standard. Is their streaming good enough? On a Blu-ray, the bit rates are way higher usually. I don't buy Blu-rays because I can't afford to do that. I'm too damn cheap. And usually if I buy a Blu-ray, I don't watch it enough to justify it. So, I mean, I'll buy it occasionally if I feel like if I feel like it's something that I want to have a collection of. I bought Candy because there's no way I could stream that anywhere. I would buy Everything Everywhere All at Once, but I can't. I've got it. I bought it on Amazon as a streaming thing. I think, yeah, streaming can kind of suck. I think the Blu-rays are probably better. I don't have an Ultra HD player, so all I have is a PS4 that can play the regular Blu-rays. So I wouldn't buy the Ultra HD. I mean, I just watch stuff on streaming. I want to see how Western current storytelling manages the love story between an older mustache plumber and a young impressionable princess in the cartoon. Guess they're too coward for it. Well, the Mario is probably about the same age as Princess Peach actually in the movie. So he's not necessarily older. He just has more hair. He's hairier. That's all. LMO, tread lightly, John. Whatever. It doesn't matter anymore. Just like Star Wars movies, there for kids too. Whoops. Did we go there long without talking about Star Wars? My bad. I haven't talked about Star Wars in a long time, have I? Yeah, I get it. HD versions are over €30 here. Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know how to. Ashoka looks kind of good. Yeah, fine. There's a lot of talk about the Mandalorian 3. Everyone, I've watched, Film Threat talk about it. Drunken Critical Drinker and all those folks talk about it. I could have told you, like, if Grogu is back in this season, that means they just ran out of ideas. There's no, like, that Mandalorian 1 and 2 was a good arc, ended well, and landed the ending. It was a good place to end it. But then they had to bring him back. It just smells like a cash grab. So I refuse. Oh, I don't have Disney Plus anymore, so I refuse to give it. Star Wars frame rate is the Star Wars of this stream. It is. In the games, he always had the impression of an older man. I don't know. His voice was always kind of high pitched. It's me, I'm Mario. I don't know. All right, it's 5:06. My God, I gotta get going. All right, well, let's hang out for a few more minutes and then I'll call it quits. And your last burning questions. You want me to tread lightly or you want me to just stick my foot in my mouth? That's fine too. At this point, it doesn't matter because I don't think anybody's watching at this point. All 30 of you, or whatever it is. Hey, how many of my movie Cats review how many views does that have? Oh, there it went. I just missed it. My Cats review. Oops, where are you? Where's my Cats movie review? Oh, I'm on the wrong page. My Cats movie, 51,000 views. That's pretty darn good for a movie about cats. So my Cats, I did watch it not that long ago, and I still felt the same way I felt about it when I watched it. It's funny how surprisingly I'm more consistent in my views of movies nowadays. It's like I'll watch a movie again and think, well, that's exactly how I felt when I watched the movie the first time. Let's see here. Why the Journey no longer in vogue in Hollywood? Sure. I'm pretty sure Journey is pretty popular. Hero's Journey. Let's see. There seems to be very good quality on movies you buy on Apple TV for that's worth. Never seen compression artifacts. It also depends on, a lot on the streaming, how good your streaming service or your internet connection is. Have I read Tarantino's cinema speculation? No, I have not. I don't even know what that is. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at that. Search Tarantino's cinema speculation. Was that a book? I can get it on audiobook. Maybe you get it on audiobook. But is it Tarantino's reading it? Or that'd be kind of cool. 10 hours, 9 minutes? Oh, it's nonfiction from the author. Deliriously entertaining, what intelligent cinema book as unique as anything. Okay, that sounds pretty good. I might have to put that on my Audible list. Are you interested in sound formats as much like newer object-based like Dolby Atmos? Not particularly, because I don't have the gear to evaluate any of that. It's like, it'd be cool if I had Dolby Atmos set up in my living room that I could test and play with. But if it's not something I can mess with, then I'm not terribly interested in it. I watched analysis and theory videos for a while. I kind of stopped that too, but now power to Disney, I guess. All right. Okay. Well, read it. It's good. Well, I will definitely put that out, Audible book it, because that's how I read books these days, is by listening to them. I just hope it has I hope it has Quentin Tarantino. I don't think it has Quentin Tarantino narrating it. No, it's Eduardo Ballerini. Oh no, Quentin Tarantino was in there too. Okay. So now listen here. Okay. So here's the thing. All right. So in the movies, the way it happens, get this right. So he comes out to the thing, and C-3PO's there, and he's like, "What the hell's going on?" And here's the thing. Now you can get this right. Get this right. This is the way it works. Okay. This is so you come to the scene, right? You see the scene, and then it happens, and that's when we cross the border. We cross the threshold. See, that's my terrible. That's my Quentin. If you ever watched SNL back in the day, Norm Macdonald, who doesn't do a lot of impersonations, but Norm Macdonald did a Quentin Tarantino for like one episode. He was talking. I forget what that was, but I think it might have been like Star Wars or something like that. Like, or no, I think Quentin Tarantino was auditioning for Star Wars, like as for Han Solo. So Quentin Tarantino was like, now listen here, like, okay, all right. She's fast. She's really fast. Okay, she's really fast. She did the Kessel Run in like 12.4 parsecs. All right, don't get me wrong. So Norm Macdonald did a really funny Quentin Tarantino, and it's hilarious. And that's where I derive my Quentin Tarantino impersonation from. So Norm Macdonald is only known for doing Quentin Tarantino, and then for doing that one actor on the Celebrity Jeopardy. I forget his name. Novelization of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was read by Jennifer Jason Leigh. Oh, that's kind of cool too. The thing about it is, all right, it is that, yeah. And then, okay, get this. She has her feet on the dashboard. Get me wrong about that. When you listen to books, do you watch it faster than 10 times? No, I actually just listen at 1 time speed. I like to just enjoy and listen to them. Streaming takes twice as much bandwidth as than downloading for the same quality. That makes sense, actually. Yeah, Norm Macdonald did that Letterman too. Yeah, the Norm Macdonald's Letterman was hilarious. Like, it was so freaking. Those are like the favorite sketches ever of Saturday Night Live. I love the whole like different celebrities auditioning for Star Wars. That was like the best, to me, is the best one. And that Letterman, it's like, yeah, see, how you doing? How you doing, Paul? Yeah. That's the way he did the Letterman. God, that was so good. You got me. That's right. You got any gum? You got any gum? And all you Gen Zers and none of you, all you like younger kids are like, what is he talking about? What is he talking about? Hey, Pa, you got any gum? Hey. Oh, Norm Macdonald, underappreciated. Like, he didn't do a lot of he didn't do a lot of characters. And man, when he did, they were like the freaking funniest things. Yes, yeah. Audible makes the reader slow down. To me, I got to listen. You're 100% right. Like I can read faster than I can listen. But to me, I'd rather absorb the performance and listen to them. I've read a couple. Actually, I don't know if any of my Audible books are still on Audible. I've done a couple audio reads, trying to see if I could make any money doing it. And the answer is no. You can't make a damn thing. You make like pennies trying to make Audible books. I actually had 3 out. One of them got pulled out. I don't know why, but the author like pulled it out of circulation. The other 2 are out there, but you won't find them under my name, and I won't tell you what they are because they are some let's say chick books that are more for chicky books. Yeah, let's leave it at that. Yeah, Plot Blot. Have you checked out Dan Harmon's? Yeah, we talked about it before, early in the stream. Chevy Chase opened the Just for Laughs gig one time by saying, that there were more snow on SNL's backstage than in Montreal. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, it's 5:15. I better get going. My neck is not too bad. I'm going to go download that Audible book. And, yeah, I'm going to go home and make some chicken. I got some mashed potatoes, and I'm going to cook some asparagus. I think asparagus will be tonight's thing. Asparagus will be tonight. We'll do asparagus. It's way past 5. I know, it's way past 5. What the hell is going on with me, John? So I'm going to have some asparagus, some Nashville hot chicken cooked in the air fryer, and mashed potatoes. And then I might see how I feel if I go see a movie tonight. I don't know. We'll see. All right, guys. We shall see you next week. Should be next Saturday. I'll be coming back to you. Oh, shoot. I got to get to my live screen. Because something's up here. Let's see. Go live. Let's see. I got to stop the stream. There we go. So, all right. Thanks for hanging out with me, man. That's fun. Hopefully I don't get too canceled. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Andre. Let's see what you said. Put it up there. Get it up there on the screen. Thanks for all the incredible videos. Hopefully another installment of the studios is coming. Oh, okay, you're the one who want me to push that studios. Okay, I'll make some more studios. I'll put it on the list. But first, we're going to talk about frame rate for some more because frame rate keeps the lights on in here. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Good night, and I'll see you. I'll post a little bit about NAB in Vegas. I'll maybe make some community note or something like that. A little post. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Check you out, guys, soon. Take care now. Bye.